Training for your next big race and not sure about your nutrition? Well, Precision Fuel and Hydration are sponsoring the show this month, and their free online planner has you covered. It calculates exactly how much carbs, sodium and fluid you need to smash your goals. Me and the team at Inside Running Podcast swear by the 90 gram resealable gel to have on our long runs. It's been a game changer for us. If you want to crush your race day strategy, hit the link in the show notes, try the planner and grab 15% off your first order with the code IR-SPRING2025. That's IR-SPRING2025. Hit the link, grab your discount and crush those goals. Now on to the episode.
Child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place?
Welcome to episode number 390 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thanks for being with us for another week. Pretty low agenda this week. Not a lot written down here, but I'm sure we'll fill 60, 70 minutes coming up shortly for you. Jess Hull's going to pop in, boys, which is going to be great to talk to her for 15, 20 minutes about what's been happening in her life, all the usual segments that you know and expect on the Inside Running Podcast each week. Welcome to our man up in Canberra. Happy Easter, Croaks. It's Easter Monday. We're here on another public holiday.
Yes, happy Easter. It's an interesting time with kids. They were pretty feral this weekend.
Oh yeah,
The build up to these things like Christmas, Easter, they're just a little bit hyped up, and the kids were probably lucky the Easter Bunny came to our house actually, based on how they were Saturday afternoon.
What are you going to be threatening with for the next 2 or 3 months? I'm calling the Easter Bunny. The amount of times I've said that the last few weeks.
Oh, and then Collis today. So he Lily's pretty good when it comes to like sweet stuff. She doesn't guts, whereas Collis, we put away all of their eggs, and Viv and I, we each just had one bunny each. We discovered one empty wrapper in the bin and half a head missing on the other. He had just gone to town behind our backs.
On yours?
Yeah, because his stuff had been put away and he found ours and he was just into it, and we didn't know until we found wrappers and then a half-eaten bunny that was underneath the couch. And we're like, Collis, we're like, where's the other one? He's like, I don't know. Like, Collis, where is it? Finally came out, I've eaten it. And like, they're pretty big bunnies. So he would have eaten that like at some point yesterday, because then Viv offered him like an Easter egg after dinner last night. And he was like, no, I'm okay. I've had enough chocolate without us knowing how much he'd actually eaten.
How are you, Moose? Happy Easter to you.
Yeah. Happy public holiday award wages to me.
Do you work yourself though, so you didn't have to pay them?
No, today I thought I would have a day off once in my life. Okay. And yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, that we decide that we're religious enough to create public holidays for something that you blokes, I know, you guys don't go to church. I don't go to church. You blokes believe in the Easter Bunny?
Believe in the
That's
Easter
what we're
Bunny.
celebrating here, isn't it, on Easter Monday, the Easter Bunny? Or is it something else?
Yeah, we're celebrating more the Easter Bunny than religion, I feel.
Yeah, well,
but each their own.
Apparently Easter Friday, Easter Saturday, Easter Monday are all public holidays.
Yeah, I think the supermarket couldn't even open here yesterday.
No Easter Bunny at your house, Moose?
Oh, well, yeah, there is. That's what I mean. Like, we all celebrate the Easter Bunny, don't we?
I feel like you've been on this rant before Christmas.
Oh, this is worse because I don't like, there's some genuine public holidays out there like Grand Final Day, where like the employees deserve to get the double pay on Grand Final Day. That's part of our heritage. We've been celebrating grand final day for like 6 years now. So I don't know about this Easter though. I don't know about Easter public holiday. 3 days, and Saturday, public holiday on a Saturday. They're doing their best to destroy small business, the Christian religion.
You could argue probably that's been going for longer than AFL Grand Final.
That was
holiday.
my joke, you dickhead.
Oh, okay.
But don't worry about it.
Well, I went over
Croaks
my
got
head.
it.
Did you, Croaks?
Of course, I got it. Yep.
Do you know what I was reminded of on the long run yesterday?
What's
Brady?
that?
Someone was running along and they got quiet for what? Like a minute. There's a bit of silence. You're sort of waiting for someone to bring something up.
Yeah.
And someone goes, "Oh, you remember when Brady thought that a penguin was a fish?"
I never did though. That's the thing. That joke has gone in an opposite direction. I'm going to find the audio about that because I was Googling it and just read what come up in Google about the classifications of penguins.
Shit, that was good when you thought
Not sure what you've tuned into this episode. 4 minutes in, we've talked about parenting, Easter, and penguin being classified as fish. But let's talk about some running. Who's going first, boys? Who wants it? Jess Hull coming in about 32 minutes. So
I want to hear about Moose's race last week.
Moose has been chucking it in fifth gear a bit, hasn't he, Croaks?
185 heart rate.
That's normal for me at the moment. I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll start with Monday.
All right, Monday would be the 14th. So jog down the bottom of the hill, did 40 minutes. Tuesday, jog, and did some strides, was a bit late to get home, so didn't change my shoes. Normally I'm changing my shoes on these runs for the strides and the drills, and it feels really nice. You get to sample a few super shoes and you feel a bit faster. Didn't have time to do that, so kept the same heavies on and just really didn't feel nice at all. Felt super sluggish, foot moving around too much in the shoe. It's probably something that we don't talk about enough in race shoes is the actual fit being a lot tighter. And then when we put our jogging shoes on, it's a lot looser and more generous. And so when you try to get going in the jogging shoe, your foot just moves too much. And I don't reckon we ever really call that out, but here I am. Morning workout on the Wednesday. Did
on
it
the
around.
Point though, Moose, like people doing drills and strides seriously and not just half-assing them. I would like people, and myself, I think I can do them more serious if I'm in a racing flat, a racing shoe, which is why I jog home, change your shoes, and then spend time, applying yourself.
It's not a big thing, and it actually gets me up and about to put a race shoe on for the strides because I do feel a bit faster, but you just do not feel fast and you're sluggish, so you're kind of not getting what you're trying to achieve with that. The Wednesday workout was a 10-minute threshold at heart rate, then 5 by a minute hard, minute easy, and then an 8-minute threshold. And I did this around the river down in Anglesea. 10 minutes. I did this in the Alpha Fly 3. 10 minutes at 3:28, and then it was a 2-minute jog. I did a minute at 3:07, 3:03, 3:05, 3:04, 3:03, and then the last 8 minutes was at 3:27 pace. The roads are in awful condition. We have just not had enough rain at the moment down here. The dirt roads are sandy and they're full of bloody big holes of like loose gravel. There's no grip when you hit the ground. You're just sliding everywhere, and now you're starting to sink, and the corrugations are as bad as I've seen. So I'm going to avoid these places for workouts now. It actually felt terrible. Didn't enjoy this much at all, but got it done. The workout was fine, nothing crazy. Sort of coming off the last workout I did before this one was that fast one that we did out at the Chanel Estate. So coming into this with a fair bit of confidence, knocked it on the head a little bit. And that's one of the issues that I think is when you start to get a bit of fitness back, you're always looking for progression and you're always looking for like test the fitness to see where you're really at. And when you've got a heart rate restriction on your workouts, you get a pretty good indicator of where you're at. Next morning, just 10K, pretty slow. And then Friday into a workout, I did the Moose Fartlek. This was out at the Chanel Estate. This is Easter Friday. So we went out here because there's no tourists at this location. This is all just locals that live there. And in town at the moment was just stupid busy. And in like Christmas holidays down here, the tourists walk around and they ride bikes and they're resisting getting in their cars. But on Easter holidays, everyone's in their cars and the roads are crazy. So we decided to go out here away from that drama. Moose Fartlek, I did this one by running the ons harder and the rests easier. So I was like, this workout can be run as more of a continuous like fartlek, or like a steady on and a steady off, whereas I did it with a hard on, a hard and a real jog off. So this was 5 minutes, 5 by 3 minutes on, 1 minute jog, 1 minute a bit harder, 1 minute jog. I went 3:10. I'll just give you my 3 minute reps first. 3:10, 3:13, 3:07, 3:10, 3:10, and then the 1 minutes were 2:56, 2:57, 2:52, 2:56, and 2:52. It was a tough workout, actually fairly slow over, like 3:35 pace for half an hour because my jogs were so slow. It got pretty difficult towards the end. Like I thought that I had managed the efforts well, but I'm still lacking that strength to be able to finish workouts off feeling really strong. I was also trying to chase a little bit of a proof of fitness here. I think last week, that Friday, having a bit of competition around, had a really good workout, and now I'm almost trying to replicate how good that workout was in this workout. But the Moose Fartlek's always been hard for me. I felt like this has been like a bit of a it's been a bit of a, how would you describe it? Like a rival workout, something that I get to and I'm like, oh, this thing always beats me up, and I never get this right, and I still didn't get this right here. But Croaks, you didn't like it.
Oh no, I was just looking at your heart, like, the day that you did it, I was just looking at it, and I sort of, in our group chat went, a bit of fifth gear this morning, Moose, and I was only just thinking of it more from the point of view that, like your heart rate probably doesn't get much higher than mid to high 180s, and it's like you're there sort of, a few weeks back into training, and so is there much to be gained by actually running this hard? And I know Brady said, the last couple of weeks, like you're in that sort of danger period at the moment. And you sort of just said it yourself where it's like, you start to feel some fitness coming back, and then you're trying to improve on last week, trying to then prove your fitness. I just didn't think there'd be much gain. And also look back, compared your heart rate to back when you did the session at Stromlo and you said, I cooked that one early and then had to do the time. And your heart rate didn't even get that high at Stromlo compared to what it got doing this one.
Well, that was a heart rate kind of prescription workout back then, and this was more like go off feel, but there's no real feels given, so I was left to my own kind of discretion to use it. And I mean, it got hard. I think the temperature, like I was talking to Toby after it, we both got really hot out there. So it said 20 degrees at the start at 9:30, but once that sun came out, it was definitely feeling hotter than that. And I remember thinking halfway through, I'm like, fuck, my head is on fire right now. Like a lot of heat coming through the top of my head. So I think that contributed to the heart rate a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was sore after it. Calves are sore, which means that I was running fairly fast.
I guess the point I was getting to is that you can still probably get 90 to 95% of the physiological gains by maybe running 5 beats lower.
Yeah. I didn't have pace or heart rate or anything showing on my watch. It was all feel. It was just time, and it would beep at me. And the idea was normally, like, I try to do this around 15K pace, 3K pace for the ones. And it ended up just being like I did the workout evenly. Like, I didn't get faster and I didn't get slower. So I was really happy with that. It just got harder, which is normal. So I know what you're saying. I take that on. I'm not too fussed by it though.
No, I think what was his response, Brady? You guys do you, I'll do me.
You worry about you guys, I'll worry about myself, or something.
And then
like
and then I hit the old fishing
that.
emoji.
Got him fired up in the group chat.
I don't need other coaches. I got one coach here. If she sees something, she'll put me back in line.
We just
One
want
coach
what's
is
best
enough
for you,
for me.
Moose. That's all. It's coming from a good place. We only
Yeah, I
want
know.
what's best for you.
I know.
Just don't want you. We want you running consistently.
Geez, I'll keep going though. So yeah, just ran 10K the next morning, work Saturday, and Sunday morning, 24K. All the crew were doing something at Ballarat, so I'm the only one not. So I was the longest in the group here. Just went out on a flatter route so that the group could save their legs a bit for next weekend. And I dropped them off at, I think it was 20 maybe, and got going. But that last 4K, oh boy, I just found myself in a massive hole, and I had to have a nap that afternoon. Like, I was cooked. Like, I was absolutely spent after this, and I'm not sure whether it was an accumulation of the last month's training, or there was something about this long run that got me, or I don't know whether it was work fatigue or whatever. But I felt really ill later this day, and just pretty much found myself in bed at like 2 o'clock, real knocked around. But I do feel better today, although, like, just for context, I ran 8K this morning and I ran 5:08 pace, and I couldn't have gone faster. So I'm a bit knocked around, a bit beat.
You've been having Mondays off too, haven't you?
Last week I ran Monday and every other Monday off before that.
Okay.
Like a fueling before the long run, Moose?
Had a bowl of oats as well as half a precision chew just before we left. And I took a 90-gram pouch of precision with me and had it across the run. And also immediately had the other half of the chew, a bottle, like a drink of electrolytes on the car on the way home. Had a recovery protein and carb mix drink when I got home. Another bottle of electrolytes, coffee and a hot cross bun like an hour later. So I feel like I was pretty well fueled. That's why I didn't get it.
Even from a heart rate point of view, it's like 139 average. So it's not, killing yourself.
No, it felt like...
Maybe it was that Friday session, I reckon.
Yeah, it could have been that. It could have been also... Saturday was busy in the store. Saturday, like, it gets you when you're busy in the store, right? Like, I'm not complaining. This is my job. I like it when we're busy. But I'm up early, running, straight back home in the shower, head off to work, and I'll start serving people from the moment I get there, and then not have any food or drink. If we're busy, I won't get access to food for like 5-6 hours straight. We're just serving. And then you knock off and you're like, fuck, I need a beer. And then I'll have a beer and some corn chips or something. So it could be the middle day that gets me here.
Just grab a gel off the shelf. Smack a couple of gels while you're working. It's not as silly as it sounds.
That much.
Yeah, but if you're bonking at work, you got access to them.
Yeah, I got to get into Toby's stash. He has all sorts of shit out the back.
Yeah, be prepared that, I reckon.
Yeah, it's my fault that. Like, it really is.
Shoe boxes out the back.
And one of the issues is, as I go out the back at Torquay, I leave the shop floor, turn left to the kitchen, or turn right to the warehouse. Now, in other stores in the past, the warehouse and the kitchen are together. So you can go out, you can have a bit of food as you get other shoes. Whereas at
Can't
Torquay, it's
complain
like
about this.
it's isolated.
You cannot complain about
It's
this. You're the
set up
boss.
wrong for a runner, and I've never had to worry about it now, and now I'm running.
Can't you just have like a fishbowl of like snacks on the counter?
Fishbowl.
Like, you know what I mean? Like an empty fishbowl and just like, wrapped up lollies and stuff in there.
Lollies.
Yeah, stuff like that. Just a quick sugar hit.
Yeah, you got a
You
plan
know,
for that.
Starburst, the wrapped up Starburst? Just put a whole, like a vase of those on the bench there. Kids
Mate.
coming in can get a lolly.
You're talking to the bloke that throws his key in the bin.
Not organised,
He's
is
got
he?
organising this.
You got to buy
Bree, if you're listening,
fishbowl.
it's a good idea.
You go to a pet shop and buy a fishbowl.
Yeah, we'll just get an old vase or something. You know the point? Just get a bowl, any kind of bowl. Doesn't have to be a fish bowl.
Yeah, where are you getting all those lollies from?
Just buy them from the supermarket. That can be Toby's job Monday morning. Fill up that with like confectionery.
Purchase of the week.
You know, if I put
Tax
that there,
write-off.
he's going to eat 3/4 of them by Monday midday, and then they're going to be empty.
Well, fill them up again, Toby. That's your job to start of every day. Go again.
Mate,
All
yeah.
right. Good week. Croaks, what have you been doing?
Jogging around, a little bit of sickness, bit of gym. So yeah, Monday we're stood down the coast. So I met Matt Johnson and another guy, Craig, who was down holidaying. So we met at Browley. Basically, just did 5K out, 5K back. Just a nice sort of. It's not like bush trail, but it's not like fire road. So cars can't drive through there, but it's dead flat, like Moama flat. That was 424 average. And then Tuesday afternoon, I went back out there again, but I was solo. I just went a little bit further south this time, past like the Maruya Airport and out onto the breakwall. I actually felt really good on this run. So like I do have permission to do like the odd session or a harder run. So I did an hour, average 406s. Heart rate was only average like 140, which I don't know. Like I don't believe it. Like I felt like I was probably going a little bit harder than 140 average for 406s, especially when you then compare what I was doing later in the week when I got back to Canberra. Wednesday I didn't run, so we came back to Canberra on the Wednesday, and then I started to feel, even down the coast, just felt like off, like in terms of like I get to the afternoon and I just feel like I needed to go and have a sleep, like really lacked energy. And then probably about Thursday or Friday, the gland in my armpit got really, really sore to the point that if I wanted to like press my arm against like the side of my body, it would be really tender. So I'm not sure what was going on. So yeah, I took Wednesday off. Thursday, I did an hour just out at Mulligan's, 4:14 per kilometre average. Friday, Good Friday, I went out with Lily on the bike, just an easy 10.5K at 4:29. Although like it didn't feel great. Heart rate was probably what was the heart rate? Like maybe one mid to low 130s, but it just didn't feel amazing. And then I'd been wanting to go to the gym, but because I've been feeling a bit off, I was like, I won't go to the gym until I'm feeling a bit better. So I went on Saturday. First time I've done gym since probably before Melbourne Marathon. Got through the session fine. I've been so sore ever since, which is a good thing. It's like my glutes are sore. My hammies are sore, even like my upper body, and I wasn't even really doing any upper body weights. But like I'm quite happy that things were sore because it's obviously shows that I'm a little bit weak and I'll be better for it. And then Saturday I didn't run, and then Sunday my 5th run of the week, did 18K 422s. Bumped into Michael Chapman for the last like 20-30 minutes, which made time go a bit quicker. It was a week of 67K of running, one gym session. And I'm pretty much like, I haven't bothered doing sessions because I'm just like, hey, I'm going to start doing the gym stuff. The gym's going to make me sore. There's not much point running hard when I'm sore. So this week I'll try and get through 2 to 3 gym sessions, probably just another week of jogging, maybe a bit of a progression run later in the week if I can sort of get to the gym and not be quite as sore each time that I go. I'm sort of, like feel like I'm moving okay, but I'm just in a way I'm just rebuilding myself. Like I'm going to the gym, trying to get stronger there. Hopefully the gym stuff helps my Achilles. And actually I should say that pretty much all of those runs, like my Achilles has actually been feeling like pretty good. Like still some tenderness at the back end of the runs, but like that 18K yesterday, I had no pain running at all. So that's a good sign. But I'm sure if I was to run 100K and be doing 2 quality sessions a week, it would probably flare up. So I'm just going to, just keep it conservative until I've done a bit more gym work.
Will the physio guide your running?
Yeah, a little bit. So the initial consultation, we sort of had some guidelines in that no more than 3 runs in a row. So 3 days of running in a row. Probably stick to just 5 runs a week. Happy for me to sort of gradually increase the long run. So, the first week was like, my longest run was 60 minutes. The Sunday just gone was 75 to 80. If everything progresses well this week, I might go 90. And then he's also given me the option of doing 1 session a week, but not on the track. So that would just be a treadmill session for me. And another run where if I'm feeling good, I can just throw a little bit of a surge in the middle, but nothing too crazy. In terms of gym work, he's given me the exercises for the Achilles to do in the gym. Isometric stuff he's happy for me to do every day. So that was sort of like the guidelines for the first 3 weeks, and then let's just see what progress is made.
That's good. It's good to almost feel like you should. I don't know. Like he's a runner, isn't he? Does he do coaching, the physio?
No, he isn't a runner himself, but he has worked. Jai Edwards has seen him in the past, and like he's worked with runners and their coaches in terms of like a progression back to running. And most of the he's more definitely on the conservative side of one of those conservative physios that's not a runner himself, and so it's like, you need to back off. But he never said to me, don't run. So, but yes, it's probably 75K a week for the next couple of weeks, but hopefully just with a couple of sessions in there.
What's the Jai Edwards update, Croaks, before I go through this week?
So he was running, like in the lead up to Nationals, he was back doing some stuff. And then I think he had some hammy issues. So that's why I don't think he ran then Nationals, but he's back jogging. Actually, a couple of Fridays ago when I had one of my athletes down from Sydney, and him and Zach were doing a hilly tempo session Friday afternoon out at Mulligan's. And so I rode the bike with those guys. And so Cam and Jai were both finishing off their runs in Mulligan's as we were heading out. So I know that he's running, but he's obviously just, hasn't been healthy for probably long enough to warrant going to Nationals.
That's a talented guy. If he gets his body right.
It just needs 12 months of uninterrupted training.
I'll go through this one, boys. 2 weeks out from a marathon's always a bit of a head trip, isn't it? Like, race week, you're like, cool, it's race week, freshen up as much as possible. But 2 weeks out, you're like, still want to do a bit, don't want to do too much, checking Strava, seeing what everyone else is doing, and you just question yourself a bit. Like it's
reading a book, getting a workout.
Yeah, read a couple of books, change whole training philosophy, stuff like that.
You just keep your bars even as per normal.
Well, this was the first week that I wasn't doing that, so that's why it was a head trip. Every other week is just 160K. So anyway, Monday I actually had a complete rest day, a planned rest day. I read a book and it said maybe you should try this, and I thought I've never tried that in the past. I'm going to give that a go. So I took the whole day off, hated it. Like there wouldn't be many days that I've had off since 2003. So my day is very much like used to being started with a run. And I just felt lethargic and stuff the whole day. But anyway, I stuck to it. Tuesday, met up with our boy Watto. He was holidaying up here. It was good to run with him. The big fella rolled out a 4:13K for the 3rd K. Had to tell him to slow down. I'm like, Watto, what are we doing running 4:13s for? Like, relax. So he was up and about.
The flat track up there would get him.
Yeah, got him good. So he was a big fan of town. We went fishing in the afternoon down to the Moama Beach. Took his family down there. He caught a fish, a couple of beers. It was nice to see
that too. He would have cooked that up and saved himself some money from buying dinner.
No, he actually threw it back in. threw it back in, which I think it was a carp. I don't think you meant to throw him back in. I was actually on the phone when he was pulling it in and was meant to tell him that. The next thing I look around, he's unhooked it, given it to Hudson, and Hudson's turfed it back in the river. But anyway, if anyone from fisheries are listening, that didn't happen. 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:39 on the treadmill. Wednesday, I did a workout. I was down in Bendigo, so I jumped on the athletics track for 8x1K. This workout felt so strange. I wore the Adidas Adios Pro 4. I averaged pretty much 3 minutes for the workout, and I think like my fastest was maybe 2:57 and my slowest was like 3:01. So they were like really consistent. I just felt like I had no rhythm. Like the splits came easy enough, but I just felt like I couldn't lock in. Like I was just sloppy, I've got written down in my notes. And I reckon I was sinking a bit in that shoe. And maybe I haven't done a lot of work at 3-minute K pace. Like I've done a bit quicker than that and a lot obviously slower than that at like goal marathon pace. But yeah, 3-minute pace just felt strange. It's probably the only way to describe it.
Sustained as well. I feel like you've done stuff quicker, but only for a minute, and longer than slower. But you're in that sort of speed endurance type period where it's like you're running fast, but you actually need to hold it for more than just one lap.
And most of the time I'd go through in like 70, 71 and I'm like, okay, this is good split. But then I'd like feel out of sync. Like I was kind of blaming the shoe, but yeah, it was maybe I just haven't done enough of that the last couple of weeks or months even. 1 minute walk between there. Only one run that day. Thursday, 70 minutes in the morning and then 30 minutes on the treadmill. Big fan of Alex Yee's stuff on YouTube. He's been great to watch his stuff leading into the London Marathon this week.
Well,
Friday.
Funny you mentioned YouTube because I've just decided to pull it up. Downloaded the app on the TV, and I've been we're 4 episodes into Clayton Young.
Oh man, his first ever the first series leading into the Olympics. Would he do something before that too?
This one leading to Boston.
Yeah, he's got one episode.
It's weird. He's a strange dude.
I think they're both pretty strange.
They definitely both pretty strange.
Have you watched? There's another one. I was talking to Chriso about it today, where it's not on his YouTube, it's on somebody else's, where they follow them doing a workout and then they do like a 8-mile tempo run and then they get on the track for 3 by a mile. And like Connor Mance just leathers himself.
Oh,
and the coach is like trying to, in the last rep, he's like, no, do the last like 800 meters of the mile rep with Clayton. And you can tell Connor's kind of pissed off. Like he's like, no, I want to go faster. And he sits with him for 800, then just hammers the last 800.
It seems like every workout they do is miles. Like mile rep this, mile rep that, 2 miles here, 1 mile there, 1 mile there, 2 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile, 2 mile. They very rarely do any other workout outside of mile repeats.
It's a brilliant insight into like 2 guys who were top 10 at the Olympics.
It is. It got me thinking a lot about the zone they're working in, like the effort level that they're putting out for a lot of these workouts, because they're at altitude. I think it's 4,500 feet, so it's not crazy altitude. It's like lower than the guys at Boulder. It's probably like Falls Creek type altitude, I think, maybe a little higher when they run on the aqueduct. But when they run, like I'm thinking, oh, he's running, like they're doing a lot of these mile reps at like 4:30, and then their 2 mile reps are at like 4:40, I think it is. Clayton Young, anyway. Like, where is this? What is coming out? This is not threshold because they're showing heart rate as well, and it's well over threshold. They're just doing tons of this VO2 max type work. Have you ever considered what they're doing?
Too, don't they?
Pardon?
They'll do often at the end of their workouts as well, and they'll do like progressive stuff just in steady shoes. Like he's wearing the Vomeros. And then they'll get rolling.
Connor Mance is. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, well, they do a few long runs where they do pickups at the end, but the workouts that I've been seeing, or the ones that they've been filming anyway and publishing,
it's all on Strava.
Hard work ones. Yeah, where he's cooked at the end. Like he is smashing himself. And it's certainly not threshold, and it's definitely not marathon. pace. So there's something pretty. They're working hard.
Do you reckon he's also in that period where like had that breakthrough for to make the Olympics, ran well at the Olympics, and now it's very hard to stay at the top of your game for a long period, and I feel like now it's almost like constantly chasing.
Yeah, well, he's certainly gets upset about the 2 races he's done so far. Like he's run this. It was the Houston half to start with, and then Atlanta half where he came like 13th and had a shocker, and he was like pretty upset.
It's pretty raw footage to see him there with his wife at the end. Like for them to include that in the video.
And then he's also training with a madman who, not that long ago, they were probably similar level athletes. They ran the trials together pretty much side by side and weren't that far apart at the Olympics. But you feel like Connor's gone to a new level since then. So then how hard's that seeing a guy that you were just there with now pushing ahead in sessions? And it's very, very hard to then hold back. So, and that's why Clayton's probably like, you see him at the end of those reps and he's like absolutely buckled.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting dropped in the first or second rep. And he's still running the set times.
Yeah. I guess good content. Proof will be in the pudding, won't it?
Yeah, in about a couple of hours, they'll start the Boston Marathon. But Alex Yee, Moose, check out his stuff as well.
All right.
Like for an Olympic gold medalist in a different sport, he's come over to running and you can just tell how much respect he has for it. The latest one, he went on a run with Johnny Mellor and he's just asking him questions the whole time about marathon training and stuff. So yeah, it's good. Friday did 60 minutes in the morning for 27 and then 25 minutes on the treadmill that afternoon. Saturday I was my last marathon pace workout. Did 2x4K with 1K float between. First one felt like just, I don't know, a bit junky, a bit heavy. You kind of, I was forced it a bit. You're kind of thinking there's no way I can hold this pace for 42K. And then I floated a K in 3:39 and then kind of went back the opposite direction. And that 4K felt a whole lot better. And I think I had a bit of a tiny headwind, I don't know, 12, 15K an hour. But it was probably just enough to just impact when I got that at my back. Felt much easier. And this was feels like 23 degrees. So still quite warm. Did 20 minutes in that Arvo, 4:58 pace. And then
what do you call it, 23?
20, what do I call what? Oh, yeah, 23 degrees.
So it feels like 23.
Yeah, but have you seen on Strava now, when you go to the very bottom of the run, where your heart rate data is on the laptop and your pace and your gap, you can then see it says temperature.
Yeah, but that's not accurate. I think that's
what's that compared to the app?
I think that's actually reading temperature, isn't it? The watch is reading temperature.
Yeah, that is no good for your watch, Brady.
Where it's and obviously your body's letting off heat as well.
No, but it says 24 degrees, doesn't it?
Have you looked at your graph? For 2 kilometers, it's stuck at 23. Then it drops to 22. Then it drops to 21.
I wouldn't be looking.
It's not body temperature.
What? No, it's.
I think it's much more accurate than the Strava temperature up the
No
top.
way! You're kidding. No,
I don't know. No, I wouldn't be using that, Brady.
So it doesn't say temperature 22 degrees. I'm just opening the file now.
If you look at the graph of it.
Okay, so up the top of the activity, it says temperature 17 feels like 15. On Google, I just Googled Echuca weather just as I started, and it said 19 feels like 23. And then at the bottom, it says temperature 21. So isn't temperature 21 more accurate?
21, it's the average of that graph that's spat out at you.
Yeah, which says 23, 22, 21.
So it's got colder throughout the workout.
Yeah. Humidity might have dropped.
Hasn't reached 17, which is pretty idyllic. Oh, it feels like 15.
Then my watch has no.
It definitely wasn't. Feels like 15.
It definitely reads off. I don't know, your watch reads the temperature, because on my Sunday, halfway through the run, it's got temperature 28 degrees, and then it drops to 25, and there's no way it was 28 degrees here.
Well, it's definitely not your body temp. Your body temp would be way. Yeah.
But I think that the watch is gauging what temperature it is, but the heat that your body is generating is going to impact
Adding a bit of mayonnaise to it.
add heat to what the watch is reading.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, that's just another stuff up from Strava.
You hope that you get weather like that at Ballarat, Brady.
What,
15 feels
19,
like
19 feels like 21,
no,
23.
17 feels like 15.
Yeah, no, you don't want that. You want 8 feels like 10.
Oh, it takes 17 feels like 15.
No way, it's way too hot. That was good. I also ran Sunday. I did, what did I do? 16K at 427 pace. So it was a week of 116K, boys, which was good. Good taper week. Hudson woke up at 3:35, getting ready for the Easter egg hunt. Just rolled down to the bedroom, just tried to bluff us. Happy Easter, Mum and Dad. Let's get going. Like, nah, mate, it's 3:00 in the morning. Don't try that shit here. Go back to bed.
Coles was 2:30.
2:30.
Yeah.
And because it's dark at like 6:30 a.m. at the moment, the kids don't know any difference between like it's dark. It must be close to get up time.
Brady, do you reckon those sessions you felt ordinary because it's that sort of mind games, 2 weeks before a marathon where you're wanting to feel good and you're reading into things a lot more than if it was just a standard training week?
Oh, 100%. And every single run you go on, you're just expecting it like to see like 4:10 pace just for easy jogging, and you're still like, oh, there's still 4:30s. Like, yeah, you're just in your head, I think, in taper week. You think everything's going to feel like I had one day off and I'm like, all right, I'm going to be perfectly fine now. But you're doing this stuff now to feel better in 6 days' time, not the day after you actually do it. So, yeah. If you're listening, the chances are you're gearing up for a race, but how dialed in is your race day nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration makes it simple with a free online planner to calculate your carb, sodium and fluid needs for peak performance. Their product, like the 90-gram resealable gel, helps you hit your numbers with ease. That's why legends like 4-time Olympian Lisa Waitman and ultra runner Hayden Hawks trust them too. Head to the link in the show notes to create your personalised strategy and then use code IR-SPRING 2025 for 15% off your first order. Or if you're a Patreon supporter, grab your exclusive 20% off discount code from our member-only episodes. Time to level up your performance. Click the link now. Now back to the episode. Boys, we do have a special guest here. I think I've got her on the line. Jess Hull, the Olympic silver medalist, the world record holder over 2K. Last weekend, she ran the 15 and 5K double at the Australian Championships. I'm calling her the face of the Grand Slam track. Welcome back to the Inside Running podcast, Jess Hull.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Is that all working?
Yeah, it is. It's working fine. That was a very smooth transition.
Gone high tech with a whole new platform.
Yeah, well, Skype's been discontinued in May, Jess, so we've got to try something different. And your very first interview, I remember doing it back in the day when you were still at Oregon. That was over Skype.
Yeah, I don't even know what the name was. It was all these random characters, I think. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for giving up some time on a public holiday to talk to us about running.
Yeah, no worries. It feels like, it's a long weekend for everyone, but I feel like it's pretty normal for us. So, it's been nice to have some family time this weekend with everyone home for Easter. But apart from that, it's just normal business.
So are you home at the moment? Because you've been here, there and everywhere the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I come home on Monday and then I head to the US on Saturday, the 26th. So, yeah, in about 5 days. And it's been nice to just reset at home for about 10 days, change out the clothes and, hit the road until the end of the season once we leave this time.
Yeah. And how's the body feeling? Like, congratulations on that double last week. We kind of spoke about your interviews, how you're explaining how you had to have different ways to kind of win. Was that due to the fatigue and the travel? And just give us a bit of a summary about how the body's holding up through that high race period.
Yeah, the body's holding up really well. I couldn't really ask for anything different considering what I asked it to do for me last week. I physically feel great. I think I just needed to mix up the race plans a bit. More just it's hard to win national titles. It's really hard. It's not as simple as when you line up in a diamond league and the pace is on and it's just a survival race. Winning is hard. And I think especially you've got to respect the level we've gone to in Australia now. It's not just a show up, execute, and the job's done. It's almost like you've got to show up and you've got to show up ready tactically, physically, emotionally to handle a really big task. And I was very nervous last Saturday for the 1500. That was a real nerve-wracking day for me, and I learned a lot from it in a way. I think it's the most nervous you get all year is for that national title, and definitely travel felt like in a way it could be a big time equalizer. Is like I'm pretty confident in where my training was at, but you also just never know if the legs are going to be there off a big long haul. So we've done a lot of practicing for that this year. I got a few opportunities where I went to the US to do a Pegasus premium uh, photo shoot in October, and basically we took that as the first opportunity to practice training hard 48 hours off a long haul. And then when I came home from that, and then again when I went over and did some indoor racing, just like we've kind of prepped for nationals, knowing we had that big task ahead of us a few times, just as many chances as I got to do a long haul travel. We just tried to train hard 48 hours later and just try and teach my body. It didn't matter if it had been in a different time zone, it was ready to race and ready to roll. And I think everything suggests that we did it pretty well last weekend in Perth.
So, your first experience at Grand Slam, give us an idea of what the weekend was like and whether you were satisfied with that sort of that weekend.
Yeah, it was a strange weekend because it was so new, and I think it was really important. Like Dad was with me on the ground in Jamaica, and I think it was just we were kind of learning on the fly for that because it's a double that you don't get asked to do very often, and there's so many different elements to it. And having athletes I've never competed against, I'd never raced Mary Mora, and like my kind of initial thought was like, okay, the 800 is probably going to be really hard for me. I've got to run my own race and not get caught up in what everyone is doing. And then the 8 went really well, and we reset for the 15. And I definitely wanted a little more out of the 1500, but I feel like I probably had eyes on being ready for nationals too, in that I wasn't really content to jog around in the 1500 in Jamaica, just knowing that I had a big week of travel and a really big race the following Saturday at nationals. So I probably raced that 15 in Jamaica a little more intentionally to be ready for nationals than like if I was just focusing on that Grand Slam. And that's what I now have the luxury to do through Miami, Philly, and LA is just focus on each Grand Slam for what they are and race the races that are in front of me. But it's such a cool concept. I think the short distance category and the short sprints is like they are golden tickets. Like I think that's the Grand Slam is really set up to kind of promote those events because they're pairings that go together so well. And then obviously you have your niche interests where it's like cool to see what Sydney can run over a 400 flat with the 400 hurdles, and a good battle of the sprint hurdlers in the flat 100. But I'm pretty biased being in the short distance, but I think it's the best category to sort of watch and build those rivalries from, and to just sort of see how dynamic athletes are. So yeah, as an event, they put it on incredibly. The athletes were very well looked after. It's probably the best situation you could ask for as an athlete competing in a high level competition. And they did get gold meet status a few days before the first one. So the points are really valuable, especially in our off events that like we might not be able to get like Diamond League lanes in an 800, but being in the Grand Slam in an 800 at a gold level status is pretty valuable. So yeah, I think there's lots of room. They'll innovate as they go. They're kind of taking as much feedback as they can, and big priority is getting some crowds there, and getting an Australian broadcaster to pick it up so that you guys can see the actual broadcast that's going on, not just the bird's eye view from the top of the stadium. But yeah, they're super. They really want to know feedback. They want to grow. They want to innovate. They want to make changes as they go. The event groups are probably pretty stock standard for this season ahead, but they definitely are keen to get feedback for the seasons to come, and they want a very interesting product, and for that they've got to get what the viewers think and what they like as well. So yeah, it's cool to be part of something that really is kind of listening to what's being asked of them and what people want. So yeah, it's very different, but an awesome weekend, and I'm really excited for Miami.
Is it has there been like a bit of a split within the track and field community, like Live Golf and the PGA? You know, there's a bit of controversy, and it feels like you've got to take one direction or the other. And has there
Yeah,
been heat from World Athletics to try to keep you aligned with their events?
there's definitely ways that World Athletics incentivize you to stay aligned with like the Diamond League and stuff, especially like if you look at 2026, it's an off year for the championships, but they are going to host their new Ultimate World Champs. And you qualify for that based on your world ranking. And your world ranking is going to be better if you've raced in the Diamond League or raced in the World Champs this year, kind of thing. So there's definitely still reasons you need to race on the World Athletics Series stuff. And like I do plan to have a Diamond League season at the conclusion of Grand Slam. This year, with the way the calendar is, you can kind of keep things separate. Like I can run the Grand Slam and then I can shift to Diamond Leagues because the women's 1500s are all pretty late in the Diamond League circuit. But yeah, I think they are working to award the Grand Slam gold meet status. I think it means that World Athletics does have faith in it and does kind of think this is a really cool product. So yeah, I don't know that they would have given them gold status if they wanted there to be a rivalry and a split. I think they are kind of recognizing that everything that is innovation is good for the sport, and yeah, it's just encouraged the Diamond League to make some changes as well, and then World Athletics make some changes too with bringing in that Ultimate Champs. So yeah, it's all good for the athletes. It's a good time to be an athlete. There's lots of opportunities to compete out there. So yeah, hopefully they just all keep kind of building on each other.
Jess, with you, like before, you said how you got to race people that you're not kind of used to racing. Like, how much do you and your dad like prepare? Even the people you do race often, like coming back to the Australian champs and stuff. Like, do you have a big spreadsheet where you've got like things noted down about different competitors? And like, I can imagine you guys are pretty organized. And we often talk about training on this show, but we don't actually talk about what happens behind the scenes where you do suss out your competition and come up with plans to kind of try to defeat them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no spreadsheet. At least I don't. Maybe Dad has a master plan. I'm not sure, but doesn't really seem that's a bit too high tech for him. But no, we see each other most days, or we chat on the phone most days if I'm training somewhere else. So we're always talking about races that we've watched, or like people we've seen, or patterns we've picked up in people. And there's definitely points in training sessions where, like, if we're trying to focus on something really specific, that might be trying to set us up to go with someone or to make a move on someone, or we definitely are pretty intentional in some of the things we practice in training based on what my competitors' patterns seem to be. I think we have, with the 800 side of things, it was kind of like a shot in the dark. Like, we knew I have a good 8 in me, and I think I still have a better 8 in me, but it's more of one of them things we just didn't know when we were going to get it. And it's not necessarily a physical thing. It was more like, I guess, how disciplined can I be to execute the race and not be caught up in the first 200 meters when I'm probably not going to be on the pace. So yeah, for us, it was very much, the 8 in Jamaica was very surprising because we really thought Mary Moraa would just blow the field up. And that's having never competed against her and just totally observed her. So that was one that I think Dad was pretty happy that I am a good tactician out there and can think on my feet, because I was able to adjust when the first 200 meters she was not really that far in front of me, and she really wasn't interested in going out in 55 seconds like we thought she might. So yeah, there's plans and there's patterns that you can look at, but when you're out there, things change in the moment a lot, and you kind of just got to be able to go with it and trust your instincts.
What about like personal traits and stuff? Like, are you sitting in the call room and you see someone who's super nervous, like biting their fingernails? Like, you report that back to your dad and go, "Hey, this person seems a bit like emotionally rattled before the races." Like, little
Yeah.
personal traits like that.
Oh yeah, I'm super observant. Like, I
Yeah.
let him know all that stuff. Even if I'm racing someone and I can tell that they're working a bit harder than me, if it's in heats or semis or something, I'll kind of give that back to him. And it's all data and learning how to process it yourself. Like, I remember being in the Olympic final at the bell, and it was like everyone was there. I could see it on the screen. I was like, oh my goodness, there's still 8 of us here. But when I really took a moment to like observe what was happening in the pack, I could tell like it was about to split. I was like, there's women here that are on the edge, and like I'm not on my edge, Faith's not on her edge. You kind of just learn to know and use those traits just for like a little bit of confidence sometimes. Like, sometimes you need to look for it, especially when you're out there and it's hard. But yeah, I think it's good, just like data collection. And I know, like, when we race athletes repeatedly, we're trying to learn a lot from them, especially the ones that we think might be big players come like the global final in August, September of each season.
Just speaking of the season, given you've been racing already a fair bit, and the season doesn't end till September, how do you manage the season so that you're not, you're running well at World Championships Because, you compared it to someone like Faith, like
Yeah.
haven't seen her race recently. Are you
Yeah.
concerned that it's such a long season that you're not at your top come Worlds?
Yeah, I think if you asked me that before nationals, I would say I'm concerned that I'm under raced in a way. I think my nerves over the last few races that I've been in, like World Indoors and Nationals, probably came a little more from having not raced as much in this early part of the year as I normally would. And that was something different to get used to. And I think in a way, I maybe felt a little less ready to race based on some of the things we've done in training and some of the things we've purposely not started doing yet, knowing September is a long way to go. But then even in having this week to sort of reflect and build out the next training block, I'm like, I can see like my speed is better than ever, my endurance is better than ever. Like there was really no need for those nerves. I just didn't necessarily have like a reinforcement from some racing results. So I think, yeah, they weren't necessarily purposeful decisions that led us to be a little under raced until this time of year for me. Like getting sick when I was in the US, definitely I would have had a couple more races under my belt, but I think they are things that are going to probably pay off come September now. It's like a little annoying in the moment, but maybe those things might be what helps us feel fresh and excited to keep racing deep into September. But yeah, I think I've raced till September the last few years, so it's just that the championships is at the end this year. And if anything, like the championships is like what is most fatiguing and most taxing mentally on your body. Like it's really hard to get going again off the back of a champs. So I think that being at the end of the season in September, I'm not too worried about like being burnt out or anything. Knowing that everything that's coming before it is just like one day meets kind of thing. And then the emotional toll of the championships is when I get to reset at the back of that. So yeah, it'll be good. And we just sort of spaced out a few little things that we would normally use to sharpen in training. We just haven't touched that yet. So yeah, we'll get into that pretty much now is the start of our second phase of the year.
That emotional fatigue you might get from championship racing.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the back of nationals, you would have experienced a bit of that, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like
Yeah.
you mentioned before, being nervous. Brady always talks about how the most nervous he gets is when he races the paddle steamer at Echuca, because everyone expects him to win.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining this is similar to you racing domestically in Australia, Jess. Like
Yeah.
we expect you to win, and that must put a heap of pressure on you.
Yeah, and like I expect it of myself as well, which is like I think that's the hardest part sometimes. And even too, it's just like there was probably we kind of built in like a little bit of a reset 3 days off the back of nationals, which sort of just was nice to not have to think too much about things for a few days and reset emotionally. But yeah, I think it's really hard to race at home because the expectation is on you. You can feel it in the race as well, like the race is looking at me to do something. And it's interesting, kind of, you can debate it all you like before the race, but I think my biggest takeaway from nationals was like if I wanted to win, I had to make it happen. No one else was going to make that race go. Particularly the 1500, it seemed like we were all just kind of looking at each other and waiting. And at some point, someone had to go. I don't think anyone thought it was going to be like 450 to go before the race really got going. But yeah, it's tricky, and I think it's just interesting to know that like you kind of can debate how you like all beforehand, but in Australia, definitely expectation is on me, and expectation even from my competitors, it felt like was on me to really take charge, and they were going to line up behind me and give me a good run down the home straight, which ended up being a very exciting race, but a very thrilling race, a very nerve-wracking race, and never once I kind of the last 80 is a bit of a blur. I think I crossed the line and I was like, oh, I held on, like I won. I think I was just so disassociated from like the outcome and just racing as hard as I could that it took me until I crossed the line to sort of realize that I'd been able to hang on to it. But I think that's pressure. Pressure does different things to you, and in a way, it's like all experience that's going to pay off come the end of the year. And in some of these bigger races, being able to hold my nerve in a race that means a lot to me, and people kind of expect you to get the job done in.
You say it's a blur, that last 80 metres, Jess, but you and Cam Myers have this ability to not change your technique at all. Like,
Yeah.
do you have, is it just because you've just done it for so long and it's just, that's just how you run kind of thing? Or do you have like special cues that you thinking of going up the home straight there to stay relaxed and stay so smooth to be efficient?
Yeah, I mean, we go to some pretty dark places in training. I fall apart down the home straight in training a lot. And I'm often reminded by dad on the little cues that I have to come back to pull my technique back in. And I think it comes down to, I think I can hold it in a race because like it's 1 times 1500, whereas at training we're doing like 6,000 meters of work at that volume, and then I'm falling apart at the end of the session. So I think in the 15, just in the race effort, like I'm so like it's a habit that I've kind of fallen into of like really focusing on my form and just driving for the line. I think it's more like it wasn't something I was thinking about in the last 80. It's just like a product of all the training we do, all the gym work we do to be able to just rely on that piece to hold together when everything's screaming at you. And then, yeah, just mentally being able to kind of I am shifting, like I am making some moves, and I like when I watch back that last 450, I can see like each moment where I've kind of hit it again. And I think there's a couple of times down that home straight that it's just like I've made it a habit to kind of like make those like little increases in pace, and I'm probably not really going any faster. I'm just holding. But yeah, it's just something that I'm lucky enough to have practiced in training a lot and gone to the well and hurt and felt that at training that it just becomes a habit when it gets really hard in a race.
Jess, last year being an Olympic year, I remember you saying you were primarily focused on the 1500. That's it. You're not running 5Ks. The fact that you ran the national 5K this year, will we see you run a few more 5Ks throughout the international season? Get back that Aussie 5K record?
Not this year, no. I think the 5K was kind of, I had it on the horizon in like January when we were sort of looking at the season. I was like, oh, just looking at the weeks that I was going to have. And I was like, I think we need the 5 at nationals. I was like, it's too early to kind of have some really low weeks in training, only being April. So I kind of put it out there in January, and dad's like, no 5Ks. Like they take too long to recover from. We're not doing it. I was like, okay, all right, I trust his opinion. And then, yeah, we were having breakfast after the day after World Indoors, and dad was kind of like, would you like to do the 5 at nationals? Did you enter? Because entries had already been due. And I was like, I did enter. I just entered all the events kind of like as an option. And I was like, yeah, I'm keen to run. Like if you think it's not going to set us back or it's going to get the right kind of thing out of it. And I come off the 15, well, let's do it. And yeah, he was kind of the impression as like, I had a race week leading into Jamaica Grand Slam and then a race week and travel and hadn't done a ton of running in that space of time. And when I come off the 15 fine, he was like, well, we can either do the 5 or we can do a long run. And the 5K sounds way more enjoyable than doing a long run. So we got out there and yeah, just got a good effort in. And I felt really strong. It surprised me. I think I wasn't too nervous before that. It was kind of just fun for me, but definitely standing on the line, I was a bit nervous of the distance because I haven't done it for a while. But I know like we do a lot of high volume stuff still in training that like can get me to a 5K. I don't know that a Diamond League 5K is where I belong right now. I think I would get to 8 laps in maybe 4K and it would get really hard. Like I think we're not quite doing enough long stuff that if it was 69, 70s at the front per 4K that I would have much left to give in the last 1,000. But yeah, that's something we can explore in the future. I'm going to run a lot more 8s, obviously, with the Grand Slam. So yeah, it's different to sort of be dropping down in distance. And we were joking about that in Jamaica that I'm 28 and I'm just learning how to run an 800, whereas most people are not touching that anymore. But yeah, the 8 is kind of an exciting thing. And I think any more improvements in my 15 are going to come from that bottom end, not necessarily that 3K, 5K range. I think I just got to try and get a bit faster so that 61s are efficient. Like we got to the point 62s were efficient last year, but we got to get to 61s really if we want to stay on the podium and if we want to have a chance at a gold. Really, it's just like as simple as that. 61s is now the pace.
You're on mute, Moose.
Can't hear you.
I'm on mute.
There we go.
That's the best Moose. Moose on mute.
I had the best question too, but I won't say it again. The shoe chat here, nerd. Like, are you a bit of a nerd? Do you ask for stuff from Nike, or do you just get given stuff and put it on and deal with it?
It's cool. I've had some. You probably know Elliot Heath, right? Like Yeah.
No,
So
Elliot.
I've had a decent amount of time with Elliot in like the last 6 months, and he's had a lot of feedback from me, and been working on the next version um, of Vimero that's going to come out, and it's awesome. I've had it for about a year now. I got it in May last year, and I've sort of used it for some double runs and things, and it's pretty awesome. So
What,
yeah,
the
it's fun.
19? Primera 19?
Not a 19, no.
20?
I actually don't know what they're going
Oh,
to call
you're
it, but
talking
yeah,
about I think they've released information about that, like the
okay.
Vimera Premium. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah,
the Plus?
I think I'm not sure if it's the premium or the plus, but
One
yeah,
of the two.
it's
One of
something like that. And then in the development of that has been really cool, and even just like down to fine details like uppers and shoelaces. They're so like they're so deliberate about everything that they do with their final release. And the streak fly I had for a while, I had a version of it, and the first time I wore it, I was like, "This is insane!" Like it forced you so high up on your toes, even just walking around. And then what it's been able to do for track workouts has been really awesome. So yeah, they do a good job of keeping their athletes involved, and even little things like Elliot had me map out like we train over the 10-day cycle, and he kind of had me map out like what shoe I use for how much mileage, for like how much time, and sort of where everything fit in my sort of 10-day training cycle. And it's just cool to sort of see the interest they have in it, from like not just a like, here's a shoe, this is why you should wear it, it's this much faster than the previous version. It was like, this is how this shoe could work for you and where you use it in training. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I the Vaporfly 4 that just come out blew my mind, because I sort of was like, oh, we're going back to tiny bit less stack, like just the trends and the return back to maybe even going back towards some more minimalist shoes again is interesting, just to see kind of what they develop and produce. And yeah, I don't think there's a limit on where Nike are going with their footwear, so it'll be fun to sort of see that over the next Olympic cycle. I haven't seen anything in terms of spikes yet, but yeah, from a training shoe, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and some fun shoes to run in, which is yeah, I ran in the Peg Premiums for the first time mainly the other day, which was, yeah, I've worn them around a lot, walked around in them, they look really cool, but to go for a run in them, just because I was like, oh, I was a bit tired and I wanted something exciting for my double, so I was like, oh, give them a go. And yeah, they're pretty awesome. So yeah, it's just fun to sort of mix things up that way too.
Yeah.
J-
Yeah.
Last one.
I think Elliot might be a patron of ours, actually.
Yeah, big
Possibly,
fan of the
yeah,
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. No, he's
It's,
great. He's
it's
awesome.
always
It's
been
like,
good on Shoe Geeks, hasn't he, Moose?
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
of times a year, I reckon.
He's the face of Nike, but he's actually not just a marketing dude. It's good
yeah,
they roll someone out who's actually like on the coal face in there.
yeah, and he's so passionate about what he does. You can tell he loves his job. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it'd be pretty fun to work with the pros all day basically, and get feedback and develop something that's going to make him even better. So yeah, I tried out the sprint spike, the Max Fly for the 800, and I had asked the question to him when I was over in Portland, because I just signed with the Grand Slam at that point, and I was like, "What do you think about this for my eights? Like, should I practice with it? Should I like? Is it something I should look at?" And he was like, very much had a lot of data that suggested why it would work for me, and a lot of data that would suggest why the victory would work for me. So it just become like kind of personal preference. Was, yeah, he kind of, Georgia Bell is a big fan of the Max Flyer, but Keely chooses the victory. So it's like there's a 154 and a 156 woman that are both very fast but choose a totally different shoe. So rather than just say, yeah, you should wear this, he kind of gave me all the information to make a good decision for myself.
And you picked it?
I did, yeah. I was like, it's a bit heavier than the victory was his main point. But yeah, I was like, I need everything I can get for the 800. So
Pretty
I tried it
stiff,
out
isn't it?
for a few sessions, and did my practice starts in it the day before. And I was like, yeah, I feel like this works for me. So being the first 800, I was kind of like, I got nothing to lose. Like if it doesn't work, I'll just won't wear it again. But yeah, I think I'm convinced on that way. And yeah, Georgia and I are probably pretty similar in terms of like our foot strike and things too. So I kind of use that as a guide. I was like, well, her and I seem to sort of be way up on our toes when we're kind of running. So yeah, I think it works well for me, and we're probably both more 1500 inclined. So yeah, it was an easy decision in the end.
Cool.
Jess, last one from me. like brand Jess Hull. Like you think about this often. Like you're one of the global superstars. I was watching your post race interview the other day after nationals, and I was kind of like shaking my head a bit. My wife's like, "What are you shaking your head for?" I'm like, "Your answers are always just like perfect." Like you spoke about your competitors, like showed respect to them. Spoke about like strong women in the sport as well. And like, does that all come naturally to you, or like, do you prepare stuff, or you look up to people and think, oh, that person holds themselves really good in the sport, and like inspired, or like try to reflect that, or how's it all work when you get in front of a mic or a camera? And like Nike must be stoked with having you represent their brand, I guess.
Yeah, I hope so. Nah, it's just me. Like I think that's the best thing you can do is just kind of be yourself, especially when you do race a lot and you get the chance to kind of like share your personality a lot. Like you can't hide behind something that's not you. So I think a big thing and very important to me is like the next generation that are looking on, because like I know when I was watching on like at the superstars when I was a kid, like you notice everything, you notice every little habit that they have, every little detail. So I think if you can just be a good role model to like the next generation coming through and kind of lead by good example, it's just like that's what's going to grow the sport over the long term. And I think it just helps retain some talent in the sport too if you can kind of see what it truly means to be um, in the spotlight as a professional athlete and as a runner. So yeah, I don't think I think about it too much. I think just more so just try and be myself, and I do genuinely love it. So I think that makes it a little easier sometimes just to like get out there and just truly be me, because it's really fun.
Yeah, talking to us at 8 p.m. on a Monday night probably reflects that love for the sport.
Yeah, no, I think it's everything that we can do to kind of just create some interest and some buzz. Like I saw you guys were all watching Stall today. I think was probably the
Oh
case,
yeah,
but
you second there was that
Not
live
yeah.
all of
stream
us.
before. Let's keep talking about stall.
Yeah, but even seeing Bree win
Oh,
win the women's gift, I'm like, that's huge for like mainstream athletics in the country. Is like if she can go down and win against the pro running, it's like like that. Hopefully, that just gets a few more eyes on Australian athletics and like the track races, and even if they come to it by now following Bree because they've seen her win stall, and they eventually it just leads to like the whole sport grows. So yeah, it's just a cool time to be an athlete, and you can have a profile in many ways now. So it's good opportunity to just be a good role model for the next generation.
Speaking of the next generation, I wanted to get your thoughts on the current crop of junior runners. So you're obviously a really good junior runner and you've transitioned well to the senior ranks.
Yeah.
But when you were a junior, it was like, okay, you're running really good junior times, but now we're
Mm.
seeing 17-year-olds running world-class times, or,
Yeah.
a high schooler in the US, first high schooler to break 15 minutes for 5K. Like,
Yeah.
why do you think 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds are able to run world-class times now when probably wasn't the case, not that long
Yeah.
ago?
It's crazy watching what some of these juniors are doing. Like, I hope they're doing it the right way and they're not doing it too much too soon. Like, I really do hope that they all have a trajectory to keep building on. I don't know the high school level too well. I know Jane Hertigan, who you're speaking about, who ran 14:57, which is wild. But yeah, I know at a collegiate level, like I'm really close with my college coach, Marisa Powell. Still, she's at University of Washington now. I know that at a collegiate level, they have to train harder now. Like the level's just gone up a lot. And her and I were going through some of my old logs when I was with her in January. And I was amazed at some, like how little we did really, like even, and kind of how excited I got by like 6 by K at 3:28 per K. And I'm like, wow, that's like, if I looked at that now, I'd be like, there's no way I ran 4:08 of that kind of training under Marisa, but I did. And I think she left me with a lot of room to grow. But I know that as a coach now, she's got to push her girls a lot harder. And kind of that's the result of what we're doing at professional level, trickling down to college. And I'm assuming it's probably a similar effect at a high school level is they're probably training a little harder than what we did at high school just because the level and the bar and the ability to get a college scholarship is probably raised a lot higher now. It wasn't like kind of if you ran 4:25 in a 1500, you got a really good offer at a really good school when I was going into college. But now it's probably 4:12, 4:10 even to kind of get similar opportunities. So yeah, the sport has moved at all levels, and it's probably coming down to the juniors as well. But yeah, I just hope that some of these ones that are superstars right now and running like world class times are still just working on all aspects of their craft. Like it's not just like you can run really fast now, absolutely, but I hope they're not tapped out in all direction. And there's ways to also keep building on things. And Cam's a great example of that. Like you can see, he's just such a student of the sport, and there's ways like he's learning how to win in different races, and there's things that he's still working on and knows he has to work on when it comes to racing guys like Jakob and trying to make a world champs final. And you can just see his brain is turning all the time and not just satisfied on being as good as what he's done now. He's still trying to figure out ways to be dynamic and get better. And I think as long as the high school kids and the juniors are still sort of looking at the sport holistically, there's no reason they can't improve. But yeah, I just hope they're not looking too closely at what the pros are doing now and skipping steps, because yeah, it's running comes back to get you if you haven't laid a strong foundation. It's just so hard on the body that if you kind of train too far ahead of your time for too long, it's probably going to ask you to stop for a little while. But yeah, it's fun to sort of see what they're doing, and keeps us on our toes for sure. Like I won't be able to get too comfortable in Australian races for a long time, because yeah, we've got Claudia already nipping at us, and Abby is coming through too. So I mean, people forget Abby's only 23, and what she did at nationals in Perth, it was really impressive. But yeah, it's going to keep all the pros on their toes, that's for sure.
Jess, you probably the biggest running nerd I reckon I've ever spoken to. And I've spoken to a lot. Just like you can tell how into it you are, all the little details. How do you have any rules at home to stop you from going track nerd like 24/7?
I mean, I think it's easy in the front part of the year, really, because when you go overseas in May, like kind of thing, and you start really getting involved in the outdoor season, there are races every day in a different country in Europe, and there's different live streams to watch, and there's different Aussies racing here and there that you know that you want to kind of be invested in. I think the best thing, honestly, is like Daniel, my husband, like he loves the sport because I'm in it, and he follows along with the people that we know, but he's kind of pretty much, if we didn't watch track, it doesn't bother him. So I feel like he kind of keeps me pretty well grounded. And yeah, I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot better at not reading too much into things, whether that's a good session, a bad session. I kind of just do it now and I move on from it when I go home. So yeah, I love the sport, and I am always interested in watching, and I feel like I can learn a lot from the way many people race, whether I actually race them directly or I mean, if you weren't impressed by what Cam did to win from gun to tape at nationals, it was pretty crazy, and to watch him hold his nerves. So I feel like I'm learning from just like watching my peers and watching people that are also in similar events across the world. So yeah, I just love the sport, and yeah, hopefully it doesn't I don't overdo it, but yeah, I don't think I do. Yeah.
And last question from me, Jess. It's sort of a two-pronged one about Grand Slam track. So we know Claudia has been announced as a challenger for Miami, and I was on their website today, and there haven't been any other challengers announced. So do you know who they are going to be? That's the first part of the question.
Yeah.
And the second one was just, you said that you're able to give feedback to them about, I guess, what you're hearing back home. And obviously, like our experience from that first live stream wasn't great, although Mitch did a really good job as a one-man band. It was disappointing that, here's this brand new like concept, and that's our first experience of it. So you're pulling sort of Michael Johnson aside saying, hey, we need to fix things up back home.
Not MJ directly, but we work closely with Kyle Merber and Moralake Aquino-san. She's my, the female athlete, she's our kind of like point of contact, and Kyle kind of looks after getting the challenges and then the male athletes when we're at these Grand Slams. So I kind of can give feedback to those guys, and I know that for the stream, they gave Mitch the rights very last minute, but I think there was someone else that had the rights to the YouTube stream too, who was advertising that they had the stream, and they were like kind of playing it off as they had the full on live stream. So the bird's eye view at the top of the stadium really high up was kind of in retaliation to someone else that was sort of saying, haha, we've got the stream and the rights and we're going to broadcast it, when they like actually didn't have the full on stream. I think day 2 was a little better, like you might have had some more angles. And I think when Mitch was initially given the YouTube rights, we were maybe supposed to have that version, but then someone else ruined it for everybody. And so they put us up higher. But yeah, I think there are a few more Aussies there's a couple more Aussies in Miami than have been announced yet. And then I'm assuming more so again come Philadelphia, because I know we have a few Aussies that are in the China Diamond Leagues that might have turned down a spot in Miami. So they might circle back in Philly or LA. And I just think the more of us that pop into the series, the more chance we have of being picked up by a mainstream broadcaster. As a racer in the series, I do know the 4 women that they had in line up until maybe a week ago. There might be an injury alternate who I don't know who they're replacing with yet. But that was also not confirmed, because I think they were giving her a little more time to decide if she was definitely out of Miami or was good to go. So they have shared with us, like, we kind of know the field assembled, but I think they like to kind of draw it out and create some interest with who the full-on challenges are. But I assume that we'll probably hear who the full fields are for everything in the next couple of days, because they really want to give that time to create the storylines and create the interest. And Kyle was very excited to have got Claudia, because he was like, I want the inter-country rivalry. And I was like, well, we actually we haven't raced each other yet. We've raced each other in the 1K at Stall. That was the only time we've lined up together. But I think he was of the impression we were going to race at Nationals in the 1500. But I wasn't so convinced. I wasn't sure which way. I knew she was going to pick one, but I didn't know if she was going to pick the 8 or the 15. So then I think it even just creates even more interest. Was like, there's she's been dominating the 800 and the domestic scene while I was focused on the indoor season. But now we're going to race each other in this Grand Slam event, and it is, I guess you can say it's a rivalry, even though we haven't totally lined up together. But it's going to create some interest, and I'm sure there's people that are keen to see how that plays out.
And you're both so good tactically, so that's what's going to be interesting to see. Who employs the best tactics.
Yeah, it's
literally a challenger too. Challenger to your top spot.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, because the 15 is first for us in Miami. So, I think if it was the other way around, it would be very interesting. But being 15 first, really, really interesting racing with Claudia. So we'll see.
Well, Jess, I did say 10, 15 minutes, quick pop in. We didn't have a lot of agenda today, and I was thinking this would be a shorter show, and then your answers have just been so thorough and well presented, and so grateful you popped in and gave us all those details tonight. I know every one of our listeners would be a fan of yours. So, massive thanks for popping into the Inside Runner podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking me to, and always been so positive about everything. It's fun to come on and give a few more insights into the Grand Slam. Hopefully, I haven't seen anything to say we're going to have a stream allocated to us, but hopefully they're working hard on that over the next week or so to make sure you guys get the real broadcast.
Cheers, fellas. We did well there. 10, 15-minute catch up, and 40 minutes later, she's pretty good at answering questions, Croaks.
She's great. Such a great ambassador for our sport.
Should we thank some Patreon supporters? Who you got? You kick things off.
All right, I've got Shane Lawham from Melbourne. He's run 17:10 at the Albert Park Park Run, 79 minutes at the 2023 Geelong Half, and 2:44 at last year's Ballarat Marathon. I think he's a creative director at Licorice, which is they create marketing campaigns and brand identities, build websites and mobile applications, and develop brand and digital strategies. So thank you for your support, Shane. I think he might be on Ballarat this weekend as well. I did see he looked like he was training for a marathon based on Strava. So good luck if you are.
First 2 years. Yeah, good luck, Shane, if you're in action on Sunday. Moose, who you got?
Greg Atkinson. So we think he lives around Mudgee. Where's Mudgee?
It's in New South Wales. Rural New South Wales.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He's run 19:13 at the Mudgee Park Run, 39:06 at the 2019 Mudgee Running Festival. You're a good investigator, aren't you, Croaks? That's how you know he lives in Mudgee, because he's just done all these Mudgee races. That's pretty good. 39:06. That's a lot better than his 19:13. So points there. 89 minutes at the 2019 Dubbo Stampede Half Marathon, and 3:16 at the 2023 Sydney Marathon. Very quiet on Strava since the start of the year, so we hope he's all good. Greg, I'm going to... What is it? It's going to be the 10K. Oh, the half's pretty good. 10K for me. For you,
Thanks,
Greg.
Greg, for your support. I'm going to thank Siobhan Sieber, correct? What do you reckon? Either or?
Yeah, I reckon you've done well there.
One of them would be correct. She lives in Albury, but her Strava's locked down. We think she's ran, or we know she's ran 40:38 at the 2022 City to City Fun Run up there in Albury, where she was second female. Croaks, you win that, or you're second one year? You won it?
Yeah, I've won it 1 year and second another year.
Oh, that's good from you. So she was also second there, 2022. She's also ran 89 minutes for a half marathon, and she finished second at the iconic Nail Can Hill race in 2022. That is an iconic race in Albury. That's their paddle steamer race. Probably better than the paddle steamer race in Echuca, because like the list of winners for Nail Can Hill is very, very impressive over the years.
Mona had the record, didn't he?
Yeah, Mona, I reckon Liam Adams has won it before. Maybe a bit softer these days with guys like Paddy Stowe winning it. But back 5 or 10 years ago, then like to 20, 30 years ago, and it's a hard race. You boys ever done it?
No, I haven't. I think the course has changed a little bit from back in the day, but yeah, I know it was. Remember they put a heap of money up to break the record. Remember there was that controversy a few years back.
Yeah, Vic Mitchell, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was break the record, but it was I think the men. It was because it was Mona's record, and it was like we're going to put a lot of money on this because it's untouchable.
But then she went out and broke the course record.
I remember what happened here.
Bonus.
We know what happened here,
and she got it. Then there was some controversy with your opinion too, I think, Moose. I don't know if you backed. Yeah, I reckon it was you. You were like, nah, she shouldn't have got the money.
What happened back then was the town, like, there was a lot of stink caused about that, and the town didn't like it. The town was very much against the stink that got thrown around because it was a local race. They said break the record. When they said it was quite obvious that it was like the race record. The money was up because it was like such a famous record because Steve Mona broke it. But I understand where things went wrong there. But the towns like that support their own, and I think they did cop some backlash from outsiders. The Nail Can Hill race, but the locals stood up for them. That's how I remember things anyway.
Yeah, it was years ago. Go back and Google it if you want to know what year it was and then listen to that weekly episode.
It was a while ago.
Patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. If you like the show, if it brings you value, you can support us financially there. Also a level to get bonus content. What was last week on the bonus show, boys? Can't even remember off the top of my head. It was the Road to Berlin boys. That's right. Paddy, Rob, and Jimmy.
Yeah, interesting takes from those three.
Pretty opinionated too. Toby wasn't happy about some of the opinions on him on there.
No, Toby got thrown. Toby even started to trigger to sort of get me in, like, what was he like? What do you call it? Bait me into listening. So I did. He said, Pat Stowe reckons he's going to beat your record. And then I had a dad send me a message saying, Pat Stowe says, if you have a kid, you can never complain about anything your kid does. And like... and your life at all because you decided
he commented
to have
on my Strava. He commented on my Strava as well when I said that Hudson woke up at 3:30. He said, I've just got to appreciate the fact that he's waking me up at 3:30 and he still talks to me because as a 15-year-old, he won't talk to me. And I thought, I hope he talks to me as a 15-year-old. He said, zoom out,
you remember
Brady,
when you were in your mid-20s, mid to late 20s, you're young, dumb, got no idea about fucking life, and I tell you what, you don't go talking to parents about this sort of stuff. That's what you don't do.
Anyway, that's there. The monthly OG boys are coming out Wednesday. The race week for Chris and Toby. I think the UK guys are going to go next week after all the London Marathon stuff. So a bit happening on the Patreon feed over there. Plus, you get the show uncut every week before we go to work, putting all the meaty ads in and things like that. So patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. Let's finally get to running news, boys, with thanks to Axel Coffee, our race results partner, and the secret to starting every run on the right foot. Nothing beats a good coffee before hitting the pavement. Went to my local coffee shop today, boys. Big sticker on the front. Now serving Axel Coffee. 800 metres, not even 800, 600 metres from my house. Couldn't believe it. Took a photo, sent it to Carlos. I'm like, look at this. Local.
What's a coffee in Echuca cost you?
Doesn't pay with his profile in town.
But I just have like a small long black, so it's like $4.50, $5.
What about
I don't know what.
Paid a bit more than that today. Hospitality charge you for your public holiday.
Oh, here we go. We've done this one, Moose. We've done this one.
You would have paid a bit more.
Why can't I charge an extra?
I would have paid more.
Why
Then
can't
your
I charge
payway fee,
15% extra for my shoes?
You get the extra payway fee on there as well,
Not
Moose.
not in running stores. They don't charge more on a public holiday.
You're taking us to the first news item, Moose. What do you got?
Well, what happened was we got Boston Marathon's on, and there's been a change in the ladies' favourites. So two of the big dogs are out. Ruth Chepngetich.
This is for London, though, Moose, not Boston.
Oh, London. Yeah, wow. I was reading too close. I was just winging it. Paris Chachir are out of 2025 London Marathon, and Ruth Chepngetich. So they are two of the real top three in the world right now, aren't they? If you chuck in, what's her name? What's her name?
O'Beary?
But Helen O'Beary's one, but it's not the one I was thinking of.
Safan Hassan.
No, not even her.
Asefa.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is it not a Sefa?
No.
She was the previous world record holder.
Yeah, I know. We're talking a while back now. We're talking maybe Kosgei, Bridget Kosgei.
She's at Frankfurt, isn't she? I think she's at Frankfurt in a couple of weeks.
She's gone to the second raters.
I know.
Bridget Kosgei.
Reputation's taken a hit. Well, she rocked up to this race last year and pulled out 80 metres in, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's not getting invited back after that.
Probably got a black line through her name.
Maybe the World Majors black liner after that.
Yeah, Ruth's not injured. She's just not in the right headspace, which sort of makes sense because we've spoken about her since her 209. She ran that like 31 and a half minute 10K or something in Madrid, and then 66 minutes at was it Barcelona half? And you're like, how is a girl that's run 209 like running 66 for a half? So obviously doesn't have a head in the game at the moment.
Do you reckon she gets it back in the game? Like the financial rewards of running, winning Chicago, breaking world record, bonuses, cash. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you don't need to go to work anymore.
That's
right.
Still go? You're in Kenya. She would be as rich as probably in like the top 50 and the richest in the country, you'd think, wouldn't you? Given the wins she's had, the bonuses, the sponsorships. So running is a hard sport. Running is not something that feels good every day. And you're having to wake up and hurt yourself and be tired and hungry and sore. It's not for the comfortable. It takes a real different type to have success and then keep going back for more.
The women's race opens up a bit there, Sunday Arvo our time. Some news here, boys, and geez, I was real happy to read that Croaks put this in the notes, and I was happy when it came across my desk on the weekend because Harvey Cram, he goes to college over there in Montana State. Long-time listeners will know that at the end of 2023, where we had to pick somebody we wanted to watch, I said Harvey's going to be the man, boys, in the next 1 or 2 years, possibly not, but in the next 4 or 5, he could be someone to really watch. And he's gone out there and ran 3:37.3 to win his heat of the Brian Clay Invitational in California. So huge breakthrough for Harvey. People will remember when I picked him as one to watch, his PB was 4:09 for the 1500, and now 3:37, one of the fastest to ever do it over that distance. So well done to Harvey there.
Not quite. So
he's only in college, Moose. Just keep an eye on him.
I've got nothing against Harvey. Good on Harvey for progressing, but let's be real about this. Seth O'Donnell did this in the pitch black out at Box Hill track one night.
Yeah, but Seth O'Donnell's a grown man. Harvey's in his second year of university. He's only 20 or something.
23, I reckon.
Stop. I don't like how people keep comparing Seth O'Donnell this, Seth O'Donnell that, as if it's a low-hanging fruit. Seth O'Donnell's a bloody good runner. If you haven't learnt that in the last month, don't go saying like, oh, yeah, but Seth can do it. Of course Seth can do it.
Well, I'm just saying, Seth O'Donnell's done it by himself out at the track, and this is someone in basically a professional environment over there, running and that's his specialty distance. So,
steeplechaser.
Croaks, how did this find itself in the agenda? Did you put this in, or did Brady?
No, hang on, I'll tell you. He turns 21 this year, Brady, so he's not too old. Well, a couple of reasons. One, it was a very low, there wasn't a lot happening this week in terms of, there's no majors. Boston's on tonight, so we couldn't talk about Boston. I thought, 3:37 is getting down there. While we're on 3:37 runners, another Aussie, Alex Stitt, He ran 3:37.87 in Oregon. He runs for Oklahoma State. So, you often see these guys go from 3:37 down to, I reckon someone like Adam Spencer was probably had a PB of 3:37, and then he came out and got into that Diamond League and ran 3:31.
All right. I'm going to expect 3:37s to be in that gender for the next 3 years. And if there isn't, I'm coming back to find it.
Well, okay. 3:37 versus
On a slow news week.
75-minute half marathon. What's better?
Well, a 3:37 is.
Yeah, okay. I think
you want to let the
3:37 's
listeners
solid.
know what these guys, they could be making the team at Brisbane 2032, and it's just hey, we started putting him on the radar in 2025.
Plus, Moose, there's that callback in that we have mentioned him on the show a few times. So I'm like, hey, why not? Yeah.
All right. Just, you're going to have to justify yourself every week now.
Okay.
Something else we've mentioned on the show a few times. Stall happened today, boys, and there was an invitation 1 mile race there. So handicapped 1,000 meter race. Pete Bowl was the back marker. He did come third, but the man off the front was Peyton Crow. Well, not off the front. He started as a second back marker, 3 meters, but he won the race in 2:19.24. Williams was second, 2:19.8, and then Pete Bowl was third in 2:23 for the K, and he ran the whole 1,000 meters. He was the scratch man. So that was the only distance race they had on the main day at Stall today. The mile got moved to Sunday, so it's not on the free-to-air TV anymore, which is a bit sad for that Herb Hedeman mile, because there's been some legends win that over the years, boys.
Why do they even take times for this when you're all running different distances? Times are irrelevant, surely. Shouldn't it be first, second, third?
Yeah, I don't think they had the clock up during the race. It's just when you look through the results at the end.
I just think I agree with you, Moose. But for this one, when most they're pretty close to being scratch, you know what I mean? Pete was off scratch, so he ran the full K. Peyton Craig only ran 3 meters short of a K, so it's still fairly solid running. 2:19 on the grass.
Not saying it's not solid running.
Too.
I'm saying that somehow the TV got changed to Stall over the weekend, and I saw one of the races come up, and there's someone running 80 meters in a 100-meter race, and they're giving them a time, and then they're giving me a wind reading. What the fuck do we matter about a wind reading when someone's running 80 meters of a 100-meter race?
I think where it's interesting, Moose, is when they have the semi-finals for the gift, and it's okay, obviously you need to win your semi-final to go through to the final. What time have they run? And so who's favourite then going into the final based on how long it took them to run the 80 metres or the 110?
From their mark to the finish line. Yeah, so times are really important. Because
that's how they almost pick. That's how they pick the favourite. That's how they pretty much pick the favourite from the heats on the what day? Saturday? The heats?
Saturday, yeah, and then they come back today for the semis and the final.
All right, so here's the next one for you. If you've got favourites coming in, so the favourite got one, right? The favourite
in the men's.
Yeah, but you didn't know. But you didn't know he was a favourite until he did his heat on Saturday.
No, but I reckon they did say he was a favourite coming in.
Known he was favourite just off the handicap he was given.
So if you know he's a favourite off the handicap, why don't you change the handicap so that it's not as strong of a favourite?
Wow.
But who decides who that's just general. That's just general talk.
But they were obviously very strong in there, and correct it, knowing he was the favourite because he won.
But then, for example, let's say you get a mark, Julian. If we're going to use the public's opinion on changing people's marks, you get a certain mark. Brady and I then want to screw you up and say, oh, geez, Moose, he's got to be favourite off that mark. And then people at Stall go, oh, shit, these people are talking about Moose's mark. We better pull him an extra 5 metres.
I don't like it.
I did read some guy did a form guide before even the heats, and he said Gout was that he was potentially going to win it. Yeah, and this was a guy in pro running, so I don't know if that guy was a standout favourite before the actual heats were.
I knew that bloke's name before I even turned Stall on because he somehow popped up as a favourite for me.
You still need to execute it on the day, and when you think about the nerves associated with it, because most of these people that are winning it, they're not used to performing on the big stage with live TV. So you still have to do it on the day.
Yeah, he actually got passed. And then
he only just won. He didn't win by much. Anyway, that's enough Stall chat for 12 months.
For 12 months. We'll get back to it next year. What else you got, Croaks?
Oh, so we sort of touched on it with Jess, but a high schooler over in the US, Jane Hedengren, she ran 14:57 to be the first US high schooler to break 15 minutes. And like for context, there's only been 5 college athletes to break 15 minutes ever. So the college or the NCAA record is 14:52, held by Parker Valby. So like pretty incredible that high schoolers, well, female high schoolers breaking 15 minutes. So I thought that was worth chatting about.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
Yep, it is crazy. And I thought Jess made really good points on this. Like with these, all the marks getting quicker, and then all the
Scholarships, getting to schools.
There's so much riding on it. You all of a sudden you got to start training like a pro as a kid, and then if you don't, then you're not making college teams and you're not going anywhere. So it's almost like this vicious cycle, a race to the bottom / top. Seeing the kids' results like this, it almost worries me more than anything. Like to know that that's what they're like. You know how hard you used to train to run 14:30 when you were well, for me when I was like 24. To know that a high school lady can go out and do that, like, oh, you think maybe she's exceptionally talented and being nursed through still, and we're seeing once in a generational type talent. But I got a feeling that it starts opening up a bit now.
Those results brought to you by Axel Coffee. Don't forget, Inside Running Podcast listeners get 20% off their first online order with code IRP20. Start your day right with Axel. Whispers, boys, just a question for you. Which elite kit's better, Adidas or Nike's new one? Nike's brought in a few different coloured panels there. Adidas, they got that kind of ready, like basic, but nice colourway, I feel. Which one are you taking? Both of them come to you. Hey, we want to sponsor you. Which kit you want to look good in?
Not sold on either, to be honest.
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't seen many distance or male distance runners in the Adidas kit.
Pete
Have
Bowl.
you?
Yeah, Pete Bowl.
Yeah, but he's often wearing like a bodysuit.
Oh, I was in the shorts and singlet today. That's what got me thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really thought too much about it, Brady.
I haven't seen it because, like, obviously Gauk out wears the speed suit.
The Nike one's probably a little bit too loud for a guy of my age.
You'd pull it off, Croaks. Zaka, let's do a poll. These two will give me nothing. Move on. Moose on the loose.
Yeah, well, this is one that I've been following at the moment. There's a guy trying to break the transcontinental record in Australia, which is running around Australia. Guy by the name of, is it Scott Turnbull? Scott Turnbull? I think Chris Turnbull. Chris Truscott. I don't know. These are all names that are coming in my head. He's a very good runner. He holds the record right now. This is a tough record to get, but there's a guy who's come over from England, I believe, someone by the name of Will. And there's a little bit of controversy about some of his efforts in the past. And
is that Will? Is it Gouge? Gouge?
Yeah, that's right. Like that's the name. Yeah.
He's a model too, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's
perhaps,
a model.
Perhaps.
I saw his Instagram the other day. Instagram must know what to throw me on the algorithm. I'm like, you might like this, and I'm like, no, you got the wrong guy. I'm not about those things. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So there's been like a bit of an investigative party, I guess, that chases up his efforts, because there's a lot of these runs that happen way out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of it's concerning heart rate data and how it matches up. However, while I was having a nice little read through this and it was brightening my day, another effort, or we'll call it a challenge or a fundraising effort, we'll call it what it was, a record attempt. So a lady come out of Sydney and said, I'm going to break Giannis Kouros's record. And I think it's the, correct me if I'm, go Croaks, what is it?
Oh, this is the one that Ned Brockman went for.
Yes.
160K every day for 10 days.
Yeah, the fastest was it 1,000 mile.
Fastest to 1,000 miles. That's right. Yeah.
You got to do it in about 10 days or something.
1,600K in 10 days.
160K a day, pretty much it works out to be.
even when Brockman did it, like, so Giannis Kouros could up there with one of the goats of running full stop, but he is the goat of ultra running, no questions. Maybe a few recent guys gone faster over some shorter stuff, but he owns the long stuff, the multi-dayers, the 1,000 miles, like 160K a day sort of stuff. And there's a lady come out of Sydney who said, I'm going to do this for charity. I'm going to break the record for charity. And she's failed miserably. And don't feel too bad, because she had no business making these claims to begin with. And it's a bit of a virus. I use that word a lot, but it's a bit of a virus going around at the moment where people are just throwing out these claims in order to get themselves elevated to a recognized level on social media. And this was the classic example of that. So this lady's done nothing in running before. Like, she's picked this up after maybe some hybrid athletics or something, which is what high rocks CrossFit type stuff. And she's gone out and she said, I'm going to run 160K a day for 10 days, grab this record. Now, she's done two GoFundMe. One GoFundMe is for the fundraising for the charity, and the other fundraising is to provide costs for her record attempt, which I believe probably go towards paying the wages of people to help food, nutrition. She's not working for this time, so I'm assuming she gets paid for that. I'm not exactly sure. Probably the marketing team that's sort of going out trying to promote this. Now, Croaks, we disagreed on this because you didn't like that, but I thought this is actually really good. So when someone comes out with two GoFundMes and said, give this to me over here, or give this to the charity, you can pick here. I thought that was good from this girl, because I know which one I'm picking if I'm going to be donating.
Oh, you give it to the charity.
Well, the charity, because if someone makes a charity attempt, that's what it should be, a charitable attempt, not pay me to try and do this, and at the same time I'll make some money for the charity.
To be fair, so the fundraiser for her, I guess, logistical cost of the event, her goal for that one was only $10,000. Whereas the goal for her record attempt and for the charity, which was Are You Okay? Great charity, by the way, was $1 million. That's what she hoped to do. Currently at 1%, less than 1%. This triggered me, Moose. I was going through some stuff tonight and before dinner, and Viv's like, you need to get off this, because just like, as I said to you boys off air, I did a little bit of research as if she was a Patreon, and I went, okay, let's see what I can find from a running point of view for her. So I first go to Strava. Her Strava history started last week when the event started. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go to this like raceview.com, whatever. You put the name in, it spits out all the fun runs that she's done sort of in the country. Put the name in, absolutely nothing. So then I do a Google search, put a name in, marathon, nothing, 10K, nothing. And then I see, high rocks and her name. And I'm like, you're telling me that this person has made a statement that she's going to break Kouros's world record, like male record. She's a female. Not that a female can't break a male record, but it's like, you've never even run. Like, but then, yes, I get it's for charity. And I think I made comment before, so many times, and I'm not saying every time, but so many times that people do this, they use the charity as a front so that you can't have a go at them because, hey, it's for charity. You can't have a go at somebody who's having to go for charity. But if Are You Okay? And somebody comes to me and say, hey, I'm going to raise money for you guys, I'm going to break this record. If I know anything about running or whatever, I would sort of look into it and go, I don't think that's realistic. Like, it's great that you want to raise money for our charity, but I feel like you're basically fleecing people of their money because this is not realistic for you.
Yeah.
It does.
They're not doing that back and forth though. I don't think, are they?
Well, like On Running, like they're all kitted out in On kit, which you would think there's probably some young runners in Australia that would really appreciate that kit. Some young up and comers who dedicate themselves to the sport of running, who've just gone out and done their long run around Centennial Park and seen this lady go through, I don't know, 20K a day, I think she managed the other day, and wearing fully kitted in On gear, and they're like, hold up, I've been trying to get looked after by a brand for years, and I'm not. But all you have to do is this, and then you get the brand just jumps all over you. Now that's another thing for me is brands just jumping all over this new trend, like whatever trend it is at the time, whether it's like influencers or it's charity runners or like it's cheap, low hanging targets for them. It's not looking
It's
after the
eyeballs
sport.
though, isn't it? Like it's where do you get some eyeballs?
No, I can't stand it.
And then what I loved as well is on like Instagram, it's got like, this is pretty early on in the challenge, and it's got her running, and she's like, I'm out here, I'm proving that it's all about this, pointing to a head, it's all in the mind. You can do it. 2 posts later, yeah, I only managed 28K today. It's like 2 posts ago, you're telling anything's possible. It's all in the head, but you've stopped for 28K and you meant to do 160. Come on.
We've I think this is more a rant about the epidemic of what's going on than it is this exact person, Croaks.
Yeah, no, Croaks isn't happy with the person.
Viv's given me these ones. She said, enough.
Gonna have to do a bit of editing there, I think.
Croaks, you were good here, Croaks.
Goes the individual.
Croaks did the research here.
My thing with this whole trend is running is not sustainable. Like the efforts that I know running's different for different people, but I think you should be able to run consistently injury free for years and years and get so much joy out of the sport. Like not hammer yourself for 2 weeks, get a whole lot of stress fractures for, even if it is raising money for charity or if it is for your own profile or gaining Instagram followers or whatever it is. Like, yeah, I want people involved in running for 20 years, not 2 weeks. And I've seen it. Yeah, you see it with all of them. I'm like, you're not actually a good role model with how to look after your body. Like I've seen people do this before and they're on the Instagram selfies like, here's Barry, he's running with me today. He's only ever ran 10K in his life. He's up to 50. How good's Barry? And I'm like, fuck, Barry's going to be cooked. He's going to hate running for the rest of his life. He's going to have 3 stresses next week. He's in the moon boot. He's going to be like, no, let's not celebrate this behavior, please. What about the guy who's just added 2K a week for the last 6 months and gets to go and do his first run for the kids' fun run? And he comes 2,527th, gets no accolades, doesn't pick up one Instagram follower. No one throws him any gear, but it's great for his mental health now that he's found running.
He doesn't have that main character type energy though, Brady.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. But there are some good examples of this. Like look at remember Shane Crawford going across? Yeah. That was that was the king of it, right? Everyone got behind that. That was incredible. Cornsey did it back then. You got to shout out to Brockman as well.
But do you think it's copycat behavior now, though? Like
it is, yeah.
They've paved a way, and they've gone, okay, so that's how you do it. That's how you get on the speaking circuit. That's how you get to write a book. That's how you become a fitness influencer. I've got to pick an outlandish challenge. I've got to put my body through all this stuff. I've got to swear. I've got to be in a moon boot. I've got to. This is the script you need to follow to do that.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sick of talking about this shit, to be honest. Yeah. And that's the thing that, you have to go crazy and crazier to continue to get the attention.
Yep.
And the attention leads to deals and stuff. Yeah.
All right. If we move on to a listener question, calm ourselves down a bit.
You just do that top one because it's been a long show. I wouldn't mind going to bed. I've got to run a marathon in 6 days, boys.
This episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. And the question comes in from McAllen50 on Instagram. Where's the podcast going to be in 5 years?
Good question, McAllen50.
Well, let's look at how many changes we've made since we first started. Zero.
We've shifted a little tweak here and there.
Skype ran out on us, so we had to move to something different. We're still sitting here looking at each other. Oh, we turn our cameras on now, which is cute.
That's a significant change.
Yeah, we didn't do that for probably the first 350 episodes.
Yeah.
Every episode used to have like a long form interview at the end of it, like early days, probably for the first 150, 200 episodes. So that's been
I was actually talking to somebody about that, Brady, and we probably need to start bringing some of that back, because if you think about all the people that we're doing the long form interviews with, maybe not so much the ex-runners then, but it was like introducing the Australian public to the up-and-comers. And there's new ones coming now that we really haven't, probably, like we chat about on the podcast regularly, but we haven't heard from them. So probably need to look at firing a few of those up again.
Yeah, we'll get a few of those going. And that's what we're doing with the weekend release. Like once Road to Ballarat's finished, that will replace that. So like
that is a good idea. Re-releasing them. Do you know how all the new listeners we've got, let's say they started at 250, 100 episodes ago. Like this is that's 3 years ago, right? Those guys didn't even hear the first 250 episodes. There's so much gold back there. Incredible
There's better stuff back there than here.
Incredible.
Now. Like, Jess Hull was amazing tonight. I mean more from us. There's some good insights in some of those long form interviews.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I mean. Chuck them up. Get them back there. Like I reckon even if someone listened to them 5 years ago, I will be listening to them again. Like if you put some of those good ones up, I'm going to re-listen.
Well, I think Chris O's just cracked the 500th listen of Crichton.
He was talking about that today.
Was he?
When we're talking about Paddy Stowe, he was talking about how he's got the best coach in the world, Sean Crichton.
Well, I reckon
the question is 5 years time, not 5 years ago.
Well, Moose is going to be over 40 by then, and so I reckon Moose will be actually like into Masters running.
Oh yeah, I've already ironed him off, Croaks.
He will have like contradicted himself so many more times, so nothing really changes there. Yeah. I don't know. I think the hardest thing will be is that in 5 years' time, at the moment, Brady's realistically the only one that is still running somewhat competitively. And in another 5 years, like, is Brady still the only one keeping us alive? Because I'm going to be nearly 50.
Oof.
And will people want to listen to us?
That's just a component of the show.
Are we still going to be Are we still going to be relatable?
Right. Well, our listeners move with us, Cracks.
You listen to a lot of like other sports chat. It's often the people who are out of the game who are now the most popular radio shows, not the people currently in it. So
we just become super, super opinionated.
Yeah. There's room to replace us as well. Like I think Inside Running as a brand is something that can still be consistently around in 5 years' time. And if that looks like guest hosts, if it looks like a second show of the week, if it looks like, I don't know, Road 2 series that still happen. One thing that we're really successful with now, which is great, is like Zaka deserves a shout out. Like pretty much every single one of our episode has sponsored sponsors want to be on it due to the listeners we have and the listenership, the download numbers, things like that. So partnerships with different brands and events is something that's much more consistent now, which goes to him.
Yeah. So we want Zaka still here in 5 years' time. That's the key.
Still need Zaka to sell an advertising space for us our patrons, like they deserve a shout out too. Like there's no way I'd still be here doing this if we didn't have Patreon supporters. Because you see it in other podcasts how they drop off because it's real fun at the start. You're in this honeymoon period. You're doing it after work, and then it goes like, oh shit! Like I got to consistently do this every Monday night for when did we start?
2017.
So 8 years, nearly 8 years.
Do you see us moving into more like potentially live commentary stuff ever?
No, I love the podcast format. It actually annoys me now how podcasts are like some of the radio shows. Well, it's not. I feel when we started, podcasting was a thing. Now you've just got radio shows uploading their radio show to like a podcast. Or you've got, if you're actually a celebrity or famous in any walk of life, you actually also need to have a podcast. Like it's just an extra thing. You're like, yeah, you need to be good on Instagram. You need to have a podcast. You need to be big on TikTok. Like it's just, whereas we are podcasters. That's what we're actually known for. Like we started a podcast, and I think there's an art in podcasting.
Do you know, just on that, Brady, do you know what I've found is that through the industry, well, it's not just our industry, it's probably other industries, but brands have money to spend, and they have money to spend in different demographics or different like avenues, or I guess demographics and avenues. So like, let's say they're releasing a shoe and there's like, all right, we have to go and get into this many different earbuds or on the screen of this many different people. And the way they do that is looking at where the reach is, and they go, okay, well, we'll look at the podcast avenue, and all right, well, we've only got these two. We're missing one here. Or if they go, oh, we need to do the women's specific thing. Oh, we don't have that. So what I've sort of noticed is these podcasts show up and get immediate backing from brands, as if they've sort of been nudge, hey, start this. We've got money to spend here. We need to spend this money somewhere, and we're missing this particular demographic or avenue to spend it. So if you wouldn't mind just starting this, then we'll throw you some money straight up.
That's
It
what
does.
I mean about
It's
the
not
art of
organic, and they
podcasting,
don't
like getting
last.
the runs on the board.
Whereas
Exactly.
remember us, Moose? I remember we were like, we started up like not expecting it to probably last that long. And I remember the first thing that we got given, you organised a pair of CEP socks.
Yeah.
We thought we'd made it.
Did a 10-minute review for a pair of socks.
And I was so thankful to that bloke. I'm like, oh, thanks so much. Like, these guys are not going to know what hit them with these socks.
Yeah.
Fucking good socks. Still sell them. Still
Good
sell
socks.
CEP.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to charge them $6,000 for that mention, Croaks. I'll invoice them tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an interesting world. 5 years time, but yeah, it's good. But it's just thankful to the listeners. Like, none of these conversations doesn't happen if we check the numbers and 150 people listen to the show. Like,
100%.
we're busy in every other aspect of our lives, and yeah. With thanks to another brand though, Precision Fuel and Hydration. Visit precisionhydration.com.au and use the code IR-Spring 2025 for 15% off your first order. Patrons, you get 20% off. Check the Patreon feed over there. What's coming up?
I think .com or just .com, I think, Brady.
Oh, did I say .au?
.au.
Yeah, UK brand. That's why it's IR-Spring 2025, even though we're in autumn. Bit of stuff coming up, boys. Boston, that's tonight. Going to be talking about that all next week. You got Ballarat Marathon at Sunday morning, London Marathon for us Sunday afternoon, Diamond League also Saturday night our time. You got Rose Davies, George Griffith, both Aussies in action in the 5K. You got Chibet and Segay there as well. So that's going to be quick if those two ladies are there. Our two Australians could get sucked around for some PBs, hopefully.
Where is it?
China, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. That'll be good. Hey, Moose, tell me what pace I'm going out at on Sunday.
Yeah, well, that was what I was about to bring up.
Jess Hull when I was recapping my week, she just popped into the call and I'm like, shit, I'm not talking about myself when the Olympic silver medalist is sitting here.
Nah,
what are we doing?
Well, you have to assess the weather. That is one thing that's going to play a part down there. So it has to be a call on the morning. I think you can't go out by yourself at Ballarat. It is too lonely.
I'm going with Jess Stenson.
What's she going at?
I reckon she'll be running 68. My plan,
68?
68.45 to 69 flat, I'm thinking. 3:17s. Couple of other guys have hit me up and been like, let's go at this pace.
If it's a good day, I wouldn't mind seeing you do that. I was listening to the conversation you had on the monthly, and I was like, you convinced me of it. You convinced me that you should go and have a pop at this one. Like, fuck it. Like, how many 220s do you need in your back pocket? Like, this is the time. Just get lucky with the weather, because it's going to be getting lucky down there than just an average day. An average day is not good enough for you to run 2:17 down there. It's Ballarat. You need a really, really good day of weather for you to run 2:17, 2:18.
Well, the bomb here says 6 to 17, medium chance of showers, light winds becoming west to southwesterly 15 to 25 during the morning.
Yeah, it looks good so far, but it's
That's a lot of wind. This is Ballarat we're talking about. You
I think it's
feel
like,
every knot of wind down there.
yeah, I'm with you, Moose. So it's like, let's take in, I think 317s is an educated, like, risk. It's like I was listening to a podcast today, the Coffee Club one, and they were talking about how in running we don't have enough like ball talk language. And they're like, you know, there's 6 seconds to go in a basketball game. Who puts their hand up to like take the 3-pointer? They could get to the spot on the court where it's gonna be a 65% chance shot. It's like that's what I want to do. I'm like, there's a 35% chance I stuff this up and I run 220 or 221 or 222, but I'm happy to like roll the dice a tiny bit without being an absolute dickhead and trying to land it in the 218 somewhere there.
Yeah, I mean, what did Michael Jordan? What did he shoot for his career from the field? Like 48% or something. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I'm actually not afraid of failing at all either because I'm like, what's a failure look like? 222. If I drive home and I ran 222, I'm like, yeah, I tried. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to try out. Like, meh.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Like I failed a lot in a row, and it did not make me feel good. Thinking that I was having a crack every time, I did not give myself a pat on the back for having a crack. You don't. You tend not to leave these races with that attitude if you've fucked them. You tend to
Yeah.
leave like you. What I used to scathe myself for was not listening to my body, was
Yeah.
pushing through warning signs because felt like I needed to hit splits and have a crack in that regard. So do not do that. Do
Yeah.
not listen to obvious warning signs.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about like, there's a fine line between forcing something when you're
Mm.
getting the signs. Like if I'm get like, you do have different stages in your marathon where it might feel a bit shitty and then you kind of click into a rhythm. But if you've felt shit for the whole first 15K and it's like, I'm way over my limit here, I'll just then make a call to like let the 220 pack catch you, sit in there, see if you can run a PB.
You're gonna
I think I'm
have.
smart enough to do that.
I think if you want to go that plan, you're gonna have someone next to you, like Toby, will be with that plan.
No,
Like,
Toby's going lead pack. He
uh,
recorded the monthly today. He said, regardless, I said, come with me, 68:45, 69 flat. Come with me. Like, that'd be still a minute and a half PB for you if you can do it the second lap. Because, no, I've said I'm going to win this race. And that's what I'm going to try. I said, you're an idiot. He just goes, nah, I've said I'm going to win it. And I'm a man of my word.
I feel like you might be exaggerating that.
We recorded it today. It comes out Wednesday. Have a listen to it.
See, I don't like that. I don't
Your
like
boy is
that
confident.
that type of chat when you've only run under 220 twice.
But he beat Liam Adams at Run for the Kids.
If
That's what he's hanging on to. He
fuck.
ran like 8:03 for 3K. Anyway,
There
enough
are,
about Toby.
it's not like you go and play around at golf and hope for a hole in one. Like you gotta lay this shit up.
I'm with you. I'm convinced. I'm trying to convince him. We need a biggest pack as possible at 69 flat.
Yeah, I reckon you could drag him into that. He knows Ballarat. He knows if it's going to be 15 to 25k an hour winds, that is not healthy around that lake. Westerly is the worst you can get to.
I reckon you'll have a good one, Brady. I like the fact that I feel like because it's a domestic race, there's less pressure on you, which worked well last year. I feel like every marathon that you're doing now, or every marathon prep, you're becoming probably less intense about it, which I think will actually pay off in the long run. Like, there's no doubt you're fit. Like some of the sessions you've done, I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done those any better than when I ran my PB. So, you can run.
Hopefully.
You can run 217.
I think it's in the. I'll just take 218.59 because then I can say I'm a 218 guy. I think it's in the wheelhouse. Just gotta line up. All right, boys, we're done. What are you doing between now and next week, Moose? You going down there?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go down there on Saturday Arvo evening. I don't know if I'm working. I might be working Saturday. We'll see. Bree's running on the
marathon.
The half. She's running with a mate. 90 minutes. She's going to try to take her friend through in. So I'll be out there on a bike with you again. I'll have a little 3-year-old on the front though. So
relax the jaw, Brady. Relax the jaw.
Yeah, got you home last time, didn't I?
Oh, one of my fondest running memory, Moose, spending that last 12K with you. Actually, not stuffing up a marathon, making that lake my bitch. Just we need to do that again.
Just I'm gonna hopefully this year I don't have to go through and like clear the course for you. Hopefully there's a bit more of a pathway on the way through.
The event might be this big this year that you might not be riding on the road.
Yeah, that's true.
They might kick you off.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I got a pretty fast bike.
Yeah, that's good. You don't take any shit on the roads either. Just do what you want. Craigs, what are you doing between now and next week?
Oh, I've got wedding anniversary on Wednesday. Road to
Ooh.
Ballarat Thursday.
What are you doing? Tell us your plans.
We've got a night's accommodation somewhere in the city. I think Viv won it through Fashions on the Field once, and we've got
wouldn't be paying for a Moose.
going out for dinner somewhere.
Would you buy
that a voucher as well?
That's a voucher as well.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
What? We've got to use it. And then I'm recording Road to Ballarat on Thursday with Jace and Jess Stenson.
Hey, what about this idea
Jess
too?
has weaseled away onto the podcast series.
Jess Stenson rolls through the first lap, 68.45, sees that she's 10 minutes ahead of the lead marathoner, goes around for a second lap as a cool down, wins that as well.
Can't do that. You've got to be entered in your race, surely.
She pulls off one bib and she's got a marathon bib underneath it. Takes her $10,000 morning.
Oh, see, I would hate it if they allowed that. That should not happen.
It happened once in Canberra. I reckon it would happen with Mark Tucker. Remember Mark Tucker?
Yeah.
So he won the marathon because Canberra used to have the marathon, and then there used to be an extra 8-ish K to run the 50K. He won the marathon. Then they're like, oh, you should go and run finish it off and run the 50 because it's the Aussie 50K champs. And he did it.
Yeah. I don't think there was anyone in the 50K champs that was within like half an hour of him. But still, they weren't racing a 50K guy. That's the thing. The one back there could have been running to win the 50K and you doing all he had to do to win the 50K. Doesn't need that happening up ahead of him.
It was Mark Tucker, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was, Crux.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, it was definitely Tucker. And then like he fully stopped and then kept going.
Yeah.
I think it was the record too.
Imagine being at 41K mark, like fanging it to get to the finish line, thinking you got 1K to go. And then they're like, you know what? Just lace back up for another 8K.
Never have I finished a marathon with the ability to run an extra 8K.
Yeah.
Ever.
He was the fun run king, though. He just would have been picking up cash. Probably took it easy W.
It wasn't that easy. I think he went through in like 2:16 or something.
Oh, okay.
Folks, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was pretty fast.
I'll do some research. Find it for next week's show. Good man, Tux.
Good
Geelong runner.
Geelong man. Tucker won some premierships together over the years back then.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. He was on our team for a while there, wasn't he?
No, he was before me.
No, was he?
Don't think I ever ran with him.
Too.
All I do remember this though. This was the first Sandown 10K I ever went and watched. They finished. It was they ran it.
Skins was sponsoring it. Was it in the rain?
Yeah, anti-clockwise, and at the very end, 400 to go. Liam Adams has gone to take off, and Tucker's just grabbed his shirt from inside the pack and stopped him from running. And Liam's gone back with the elbow to like chop his arm off his shirt, which is fair, obviously. But he's got this big spurt of energy and he's taken off. And then Tucker's just picked him up because he's gone too hard too early, big adrenaline rush, and he's passed him one. And I remember seeing that thinking, holy fuck, I've never seen, like, is this what happens in running? And they had a little, like, I think Tucker was very apologetic at the end, said it was a real natural reaction because he couldn't cover the move at the time, so he just stopped the move by reaching out and grabbing him.
2008 it was. He ran 2:53 in Canberra for 50K.
What did he go
Did
through?
you run yourself that day, Moose?
What time you went?
No, I was watching.
Because I ran that day, I reckon, and the old Vic Country medals.
Oh yeah.
Where we're always good when you come like 40th in an AV race, but they're all city people in front of you. So at the podium, I reckon Tucker won, Mono was second, and then I was third. And I've got a photo of it.
I reckon there would have been more Geelong people in front of you there.
We'll find you the photo. No, there wasn't.
I love how this was a quick show tonight, boys.
Yeah. Hey, boys, can we make this show quick tonight? Because I've got to run a marathon this weekend. Goes for 2.5 hours.
All right. Wrap it up, hey?
Hey, have fun, Brady.
Looking
forward to
seeing
you
down there.
You're
See you
fit.
down there too. Yeah, thanks, Croaks. Feeling good. I'm trying to find this
Plus
photo.
Jordo will be in your ear down there to give you a bit of inspiration.
Jordo,
Got a
you're going to
coach on the
footy with
ground.
Motivation.
you're going to the footy with Jordo, aren't you? Friday, Moose. Nike putting you and Jordo up in the Collingwood box,
see if
in the
these-
Nike box.
He doesn't have the tickets yet. We'll see if these tickets come through first.
Okay, drinking champagne, you and him in there. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think hopefully he's got an international license to drive us home.
You'll go hard in there. All right, boys. See you later.
See
Good
ya.
luck, Brady.
Want to make your next race day the best one yet? Well, dialing in your nutrition strategy is one of the most effective ways you can do that. Luckily, our show sponsor, Precision Fuel and Hydration, offers you the chance to do this in the most effective way possible. Book a free consultation with their team to fine-tune your fueling plans. Emphasis here on you, as they offer tailored advice based on your circumstances and the race you're taking on. They're there to help you achieve your goals all year long, and as mentioned, this service is free of charge and a great opportunity to ask them any questions you may have about fueling and hydrating for your race. No question is too daft for them. We've loved Precision for a long while, and this free service is another reason why. Use the link in the show notes and use code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order and start smashing those goals today.